Hey there, fellow watchers. It's that time of the week again. Born to watch. The horror genre is one that's an acquired taste. Sure, almost every teenager goes through their horror stage, but most of the time that wears off as we get a little older. Horror movie directors usually stay in their comfort zone and rarely step out of the genre. But what happens when you put the best horror novelist of the time and a cinematic genius together? You get The Shining. In 1980, Stephen King's novel was adapted by Stanley Kubrick, and a movie that asked more questions than it answered was released. The Shining took the world by storm, and with the name Kubrick attached, it crossed the borders of the horror genre into the mainstream. Still today, it's a movie that's more than just watched, it's studied. With more than 237 conspiracy theories about the meaning of the movie, this Born to Watch episode could be one for the ages. We have a full house today, first time of 5, so let's head up to the Overlook and meet the team. G-Man, welcome.
Oh, looking forward to this one tonight. Great to be here. Full house, as you said. This is going to be great dissection. We're going to dive deep into this. There's a lot of fan theories, we said, so let's get into it.
Absolutely. Damo, how are you, mate?
I'm good. Very good. And I'm going to agree it's a full house.
Nice. Good agreement first
Thank
up.
you.
Love it.
Thank you, Bob.
Do you like that, Sloan?
Thank you, Bob Saget.
Yep.
Okay, up there on the land, Dan, how are you, bud?
I don't like horror comics.
Thank you, Lost Boys.
Was that Corey Haim or Corey Feldman?
It was Corey Haim.
It was Corey Haim.
Right.
I look a bit more like Feldman, but I prefer
You
to be
do look
Haim.
like Feldman.
Wow.
Yeah.
You look like Feldman does now.
Ooh.
Shit
Shit hard
house.
life.
Yeah, and look, as I said, we've got a full house and filling the 5th seat for the first time in Born to Watch history. A red face winner, star of Man Oh Man and Home and Away,
Wow.
and Australia's best look-back actor.
Easily.
Let's find out what that means.
Exactly. Croaks, welcome. How are you, mate?
Good. Thank you for the honour of being part of the troupe. And I'm really looking forward to it because for me, The Shining is not only the best horror film of all time, top 5 greatest film of all time.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Premature.
It's huge.
I know I'm
Congratulations.
jumping
There
in
you
and
go.
out. Yeah, you guys have a format, but
That's okay.
I'm a first timer. What are
Yeah.
you going to do?
No, that's good. That's
Well,
good.
we're going to break you in, and it might hurt.
I'll listen more than I speak.
Yeah, that's a no. Please don't. Please don't. Look, this movie is 43 years old, which is just incredible to think that. And I've got to say, watching it, it doesn't look 43 years old. It's a beautifully filmed film. There's no doubt. The craft is eminent. Like, it is so good. I'm going to set the overs and unders at 20. Now, we're going to leave Damo to the end. Tell us. We'll start with you, Croaks, as our guest. You've already given a little bit away. Tell us a little bit about being introduced to The Shining and whether you're over or under 20.
Now, just so I've got it right, over 20 is a good thing, right?
Well, it's
It's how many times you've seen it.
yeah.
I've seen it. I see what you now.
Yeah,
I know what
overs
you're
and
asking.
unders.
There we go.
How many times you've
Yeah.
seen the movie? Yeah.
Between 15 20. So I'm
Okay,
under
you're
20.
you're about on the ball.
Yeah.
We'll give that as a pass.
Movies for me were growing up, big part of life. Dad was big on horror. I remember as a kid going to the drive-in and seeing Devil's Reign
Jeez.
with Ernest Borgnine playing Satan. That movie's
Wow.
crazy.
Shit.
That's crazy. And I would have been maybe 8. We would see Race with the Devil, which had Loretta Swit.
Oh, yeah. Hot Lips Houlihan.
Hot Lips Houlihan. That movie was crazy. So we were seeing these things just as kind of pulp, you know, and then The Shining came in at a really young age and just stayed with me. That's the thing about that movie. It gets into your psyche and it stays with you. And that is what I think great cinematic art does, which is what this film is.
Did you see it at the movies?
No, I saw it on VHS,
Right.
Yeah.
on video
Okay.
at the right time, yeah.
You
Dan,
it's probably
Dan, what
rated
about
R.
you? Tell us a bit about your introduction to The Shining.
Well, I've always wanted to turn up to a party and see a dude in a bear suit giving another bloke a BJ, but it's never happened. And
An
I
arseless bear suit, mind you.
Yeah,
Yep.
Damo's an Eyes Wide Shut fan. I know that.
That's
so
true.
We've had a bit of side chat about turning up to a party and seeing some Eyes Wide Shut action, but sadly, never a dude in a bear suit. But yeah, look, I'm a little bit like Croaksy. It's definitely a movie that I have very fond memories of. I'm overs on 20. I reckon a little over the knocker on 20, so about a Damo 2. Yeah, big part of why I love cinema, and I'm very much looking forward to diving a bit deeper into this film and finding out if there is anything deeper to this film, or if it's just that gives the internet something to talk about that Stanley Kubrick never imagined would happen.
Okay, G-Man, horror's not your bag.
No, I'm going full Damo here on the team. I reckon I'm at three viewings.
Wow.
Yeah.
I watched it twice just for this podcast.
I watched it years and years ago, and I dare say it was with you guys somewhere. I've been told to watch it because I'd never watched it when it first came out. Like I never got around to it. I only had heard how good it was. But yeah, I've watched it maybe a couple of times since then. That's
Okay.
it.
All right.
I think we
Damo.
may need to correct that, gal. We may correct that indeed.
Damo, wow us with your number.
Well, I am on 3,
Okay.
but I do remember, like I remember being, I don't know, maybe, early 80s.
Early
and
40s.
Yeah, when I was 80. My neighbour telling me, oh, you should see this movie, The Shining. There's this scene where there's this nude girl in this bath. And I was like, shit, I got to see this. Who's the girl? Is it Bo Derek? Yeah, it's Bo Derek. It's Bo Derek. It's like, oh, my God, I've got to go and see Naked Bo Derek. Because obviously there was 10 around there.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
everything like that. So, yeah, then I saw it and went, well, it's not Bo Derek. But
Did you have to go and have a dick?
yeah. So that's, yes. Sure, I did.
Mate, he was well past the
Yeah.
dicking stage by then.
But I found the movie, slow.
Hang on. Can you please explain to everyone and Croaksy what having a dick is?
Well, having a dick is just a rite of passage. Just have a little bit of a feel, a little bit of a play.
Right, with your own.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. In a bear suit.
Yeah. Okay, look, I'm overs, well overs, to be honest. Probably maybe 30, 35 times I've seen this movie. Saw it. It was one of the movies when you went into the video shop and you saw the cover. It was so striking, his face through the door. And it was one of those ones, rated R. And back in the day, down the bottom of the case, it would have the big diamond with the R. And it was so striking. It was like, I can't wait until I'm old enough to watch that. Luckily, I was about 11 when I looked 18. So I was able to watch it. I watched it probably as a 12 or 13-year-old. I reckon the first time. Mum would have hide it for me. And had no idea what was going on. But knew that it was... I wasn't far away from being introduced to Stephen King as a novelist either. Probably that 12 or 13, I started to read Stephen King novels. So I knew of him. So look, have always had a soft spot for it. It was a very, very interesting rewatch this time around, though. And I'm sure we'll really dive deep into it. Okay, we're going well so far. It's time for the trailer. Just for you, Johnny Bull.
I don't suppose they told you anything in Denver about the tragedy we had up here during the winter of 1970? I hired a man named Charles Grady as the winter caretaker. And from what I've been told, he seemed like a completely normal individual. But at some point during the winter, he must have suffered some kind of a complete mental breakdown. He ran amok and killed his family with an axe.
Well, you can rest assured, Mr. Ullman, that's not going to happen with me.
That's right.
Mom, do you really want to go and live in that hotel for the winter?
Sure I do. It'll be lots of fun.
The only thing that can get a bit trying up here during the winter is the tremendous sense of isolation.
Is there something bad here?
I fear you will have to deal with this matter in the harshest possible way.
But you die. I killed you with Danny.
You did this to me. Didn't you?
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains. Here's Johnny.
Well, there we go. Another original trailer. Croaksy, thoughts?
I love the original trailer.
Yeah.
It's classic Kubrick, and I think it's one of the best trailers of that period. He says so much at the same time, he shows you so little.
Yes. Well, and that's a bit of a difference to some of the other trailers that we've seen, which have been microcosms of the whole movie in 2.5 minutes.
Frames of everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
But would Kubrick have directed the trailer?
He had a voice on it. So he was very clear on what he wanted to do with the trailer, and he had a voice with the studio on what that trailer should be. So I don't know if many directors, maybe apart from Nolan, would have that kind of play
I'll tell you
now.
what, understanding how all over everything Kubrick was in this movie and how many times things had to be done, I can't imagine that he wasn't right there, directing this whole thing.
He's a tyrant, there's no doubt. Okay, G-Man, why don't you tell us a little bit about The Shining?
Okay, the tagline. He came as the caretaker, but this hotel had its own guardians who had been there a long time. Jack Torrance becomes a winter caretaker at the isolated Overlook Hotel in Colorado, hoping to cure his writer's block. He settles in along with his wife, Wendy, and his son, Danny, who is plagued by psychic premonitions. As Jack's writing goes nowhere and Danny's visions become more disturbing, Jack discovers the hotel's dark secrets and begins to unravel into a homicidal maniac hell-bent on terrorizing his family.
That's about right. That's about right.
He does terrorise them.
And I'll tell you what, he descends quick, doesn't he?
Yeah, I've got that in question time. He does descend very quickly.
Well, I don't know. It went from being no snow outside to being like 40 foot of snow outside. I don't know how quick that would have been.
He's already on the edge when he's in the car trip out
I
there.
he is, yeah.
He saw it on the television.
Yeah.
I know.
Critical thinking. So The Shining rates 8.4 out of 10 on IMDb. That's number 64 in the top 250.
Oh, okay.
So it is well received. It's 83% certified fresh on the tomato meter.
83 is good.
And 93% audience score.
Wow, 93.
So it rates very, very well. Not surprising. Couple of reviews. I've got a good review here from Bruce McCabe of the Boston Globe. Old Bruiser.
Macca.
When you sit down to The Shining, you sit down with normal expectations of being diverted, perhaps even gripped, but not being undermined. But the film undermines you in powerful, incoherent ways.
Wow, I'm trying to get my head around that.
Yeah.
It's great.
Did Kubrick write that?
I think he may have. The scriptwriter wrote it.
Did Kubrick have a say in the way it was written?
I know that King apparently, and again, you guys run me to format if I start to.
No, go for it.
But I know that I found a quote that King had actually said at the time, Kubrick has built a beautiful Cadillac without an engine.
Yes.
Yep, I've got that quote. There's a whole quote. There's a whole
Yeah.
long quote.
Yeah.
We'll get to that one a bit later.
See, I'm already jumping down.
Because,
That's okay. Jump away.
he was not too happy with the interpretation.
No.
And some of the actors as well.
Yeah.
What has been a good adaptation of a Stephen King novel, though? There's very, very few.
Christine.
Christine's pretty good.
I loved Christine.
I was thinking about this in the car on the way down. Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot's
The
brilliant.
movie Salem's Lot.
Yeah, the movie, like the telly movie.
Yeah,
with,
I did watch that.
with
David
Starsky and
Soul.
Hutch.
Yeah,
with
David Soul.
Starsky or
Yeah.
Hutch. Which one he was?
It's not as scary as it was in the 80s.
What about
It
Misery?
was very good. Misery's great.
Misery's really good.
Misery is my favourite. Yeah, that's definitely.
Misery's.
my
I think it is very good. The original It was good.
Yes.
And I think I actually didn't mind the remake either. The latest version. Chapter 1's pretty good.
Yeah, the first
Chapter
one,
2 went too deep with CGI and
I hear you.
Yeah.
What about Lawnmower Man?
Oh, I remember that.
Come on.
yeah.
That
That's
was cutting edge.
yeah, it was cutting edge at the time.
No pun intended.
Yes.
Cutting edges.
Terrible. That movie. God almighty.
Yeah, not
Lawnmower
great.
Man.
Not great. Okay, bad review. We're going back to the well. It's old Wayne's brother, Dave Kerr, of the Chicago Reader.
He hasn't liked a thing, has he?
I don't think we've done one good review for him. And I actually passed on Ferdy today.
Oh, did you?
We passed on the Ferdy bird.
Dominic. Can we
Okay.
We're on a
sing it?
stroppy Dave.
Can we sing it?
Yeah, no, we can't. No, we've given enough free freaking advertising to Dominelli Ford.
That's right. We still haven't
He's
got our
come
Ford
nothing.
lasers. We've got no lasers. We've got no
Exactly.
meteors.
Okay, Kubrick is after a cool, sunlit vision of hell, born in the bosom of the nuclear family. But his imagery, with its compulsive symmetry and brightness, is too banal to sustain interest, while the incredibly slack narrative line forestalls suspense.
He's obviously not a fan of a brightly lit horror movie because this is kind of different to most horror movies where it's dark and it's scary. This is all well lit.
It's all well lit.
It's well lit, and he also, what Kubrick does, which I think is an interesting trick, he flips the genre on its head a little bit. You don't get the jump scare. If you take notice,
No, you're right.
You see Danny look, and we hold on that shot before we reveal the twins are in the game room.
That's right.
There's always we're going to watch the reaction before the jump scare. So he kind of throws the genre on its head a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that was jarring for people at the time. You know?
Well, there's really only the one jump scare where I guess the axe to the chest. That's the only time where there's any element of surprise.
Yeah.
The rest of it's very.
Well, he still came out.
Yeah, but he came around the corner.
Yeah.
He's not expecting it.
Yeah,
No, that's right.
That
yeah.
is true.
So, but other than that, you're right. He lays it all out.
Well,
He really
it
does.
really gave you this sort of foreboding. What the hell are they looking at?
Dread.
Dread.
It's like the mum, and you see her face when she's looking at the bear suit people.
Yes.
The bear suit man. It's like, what is she looking at?
Yeah.
Like, oh,
I don't know what she's looking at.
yeah.
We
Yeah,
can
and
probably,
that's-
I imagine we'll get to that though,
No,
right?
but I will say too. Now we did mention in the beginning that you are Australia's best look back actor,
Yeah.
right? So what I mean is, Croaks was in Chappelle the miniseries,
The telly movie.
the telly movie.
That was a feature film, my friend.
That feature, and you had to do this scene where you did the look back, the home and away look back.
I played Mick Kelty, who at the time was the head of the Australian Federal Police, and I finished the
Yes.
scene with Downer, and we finished the scene, and yes, we the director calls cut. He's happy, and then are we sidetracking here? We're going.
That's okay.
Go for it. Go.
And then the director says, "Okay, Michael, that's fine. Now, before we finish with you, I'd like you to look back over your shoulder and just have a thought about how that meeting went." And I remember thinking, "Great, I get to do a real Neighbours home and away School of the Arts performance moment," and it made the final cut. And it's thrilling.
And you nailed it. And now I have labelled you Australia's best look back actor. Now, the reason I brought this up, and it's obviously a long way around, but the guy in the bear suit, they did a look up
that's a
and
look
a
up.
look out.
There you go.
Now, as a look back actor, what difference is there in preparing for a scene for a look up and out?
Damon, I'm glad you asked, because as an artist and someone that loves and respects the craft, it's all about choice.
Okay.
It's about what's the thought of the character in that moment.
Yep.
And I certainly had to dig deep to find mine. And you'll see when you look at that scene in the film, it's all there in my eyes. And
Is a look back actor? Is it too hard to do a look up and like? Is it they're just two totally different things?
it is. Look, I was a classic LBA. And if you were to go back and have a look at that film, you'll see what I think you'll see is the fine brush strokes that I bring to that over-the-shoulder look.
God, it was a good LBA.
It's no guy in an arseless bear suit.
No.
But as far as an Australian film performance, it was a feature film. If I
We might have to get our production team onto this. Get the look back.
We will
Get the
find.
LBA.
Trust
Find
me,
the look back. It's-
production will find the LBA, and it shall be on Instagram.
go back and take a look. It's stirring.
And
I loved it.
Look, and we're going to go from the world's. Well, we're going now from the world's best LBA
Oh, no, Australia's.
to
Yeah.
ordinary people.
Right.
How will he match up with the cast of this cracker? G-Man.
A limited cast in this one. Let's start with good old John Joseph Nicholson himself.
JJ.
Now,
I didn't know he was John.
he's John Joseph. JJ.
Good
Now-
times.
Dino.
Temporary layoff.
Good times. Ain't we lucky we got 'em?
Good time.
Times, yeah.
Ah, yes. So, look, he's a 3-time Academy Award winner and 12-time nominee. Now, he's notable for being one of 2 actors that have won or received an Oscar nom in every decade from the 60s through to the 2000s.
Whoa.
Do you know what movies? He's had a number of movies, but can you pick? Can anyone
Cuckoo's
think of any
Nest.
I can do
movies?
it. They've got Chinatown in the
Yeah,
60s,
Chinatown in the 70s.
70s. Okay, 60s,
Easy Rider.
Well done.
80s,
Few good men.
Few Good Men, I was going to say. Yeah.
No, that
80s,
was
80s,
90s.
80s.
That's
Witches of
92.
Eastwick.
80s Witches of Eastwick.
Departed.
No, he didn't get one for The Departed.
The Last Detail.
2000. 2000s.
Oh, 2000s are in, aren't we?
You won't get this one.
Right.
He got a Best Supporting Actor nom for About Schmidt.
Ooh,
In
okay.
2003.
Yeah, he plays
Wouldn't have got that.
The Departed he didn't get anything for, which is
Okay.
sort of crazy. Look, the only other person that's ever done that, do we know who it is? So it's obviously a long-term
Jean-Claude
actor.
Van Damme. Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Dustin Hoffman.
I'll tell you, he's an English actor.
Michael Caine?
Well done.
Did you know?
Did you know, for no particular reason, I'll start talking here, and then all of a sudden I
Did
get very
you
loud.
know?
For no particular reason.
We are
Did
experts
you know?
at Michael Caine.
Did you know?
Did you know?
Did you know?
Does anyone know one of his movies? I won't go through them all.
Michael Caine's movies. Terrible fucking accent.
Get Carter?
Jaws: The Revenge.
Well, there we go. Yes.
Alfie was one in the
yeah.
60s. There was Educating Rita, Hannah and her Sisters, The Cider House Rules.
Oh.
Not as many well-known ones. As you know.
I bumped into Michael Caine once. I met him.
Did you?
Yeah, I was at SeaWorld. He was walking toward me.
Okay.
And we stopped and had a quick chat about Death Trap,
Okay.
the film Death Trap, because a friend of mine, when I was big in the local community theatre scene, had played a role on stage, and we talked about that. He was not interested.
Get brushed.
I
How
said,
how
Michael,
surprising.
My name's Michael as well. No,
yeah,
is that right? Yeah, a good friend of mine was recently in a local production of Death Trap. That's a great play. Yes, it is.
See you later.
And that was largely it. But,
Where's the
Well,
penguins?
hey, that's 1 degree.
Yeah. 1 degree.
1 degree of Michael.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Well,
Shit, well, you might be a 1 degree of Quigley Down Under somewhere.
Quigley Down. What a great film.
Mate, Michael Caine was on a talk show. If you heard this story, he was on a talk show and he was talking about
he's been on a few.
You're making a movie. Yeah, what's the guy in the UK?
David
Graham
Frost?
Norton. Graham Norton.
Okay, righto,
He's on
yeah.
Graham Norton. He was talking about making a movie in the Philippines years ago, and he was in Manila and he got invited to this house party. It was really posh. Anyway, he's talking to people and he sees the hostess looking over at him, and she's looking rather nastily at him, and he's like, "Oh, what's she like? I'm a guest here. I'm a well-known guest." Anyway, after a while, she waved him over, and he went over to her and she said, "Are you a drug dealer?" And she said, "He goes, no, I'm an actor." And she goes, "Why do people keep saying my cocaine?"
Oh, my God.
My cocaine?
God. Fucking hell. Jack Nicholson.
Well, we've gone through all these movies, so there you go.
no,
There's not a lot else there.
Is he the greatest actor of our generation?
I don't think so. But he certainly has the best resting evil face out of
Has
any-
he got the best eyebrows in
that
the business?
face?
Yes.
His face is evil. He's just got this
Even when he's resting.
Yes.
resting evil face. It's like resting bitch face. He's got it evil.
Yeah,
he just looks
in
evil.
this movie. He just the facials he gets, it just turns you straight away, doesn't it? You
Even
can
his
really
nice
believe
face.
him as that.
His nice face is like.
Well, he looks like the Joker.
Well,
Like
before
he's-
he was cast, he was doing it.
Yeah.
Even
But,
in Postman Always Rings Twice, where I guess he's more of a not a romantic lead, but there's an eroticism and there's all this kind of sexual tension. But even then, he still seems dangerous.
Well, he seems unhinged.
He's no Hollywood hunk.
No,
That's
No.
for sure. That's for sure.
But look, a couple of sliding doors. He turned down the lead role of Roy Neary in Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Wow.
Even though he knew it was a success, but he thought that the special effects would overwhelm whoever did that part.
Oh, so it all had to be about him. Yeah.
It's cramping his style.
Yeah.
Something could take the limelight off him.
He was asked to play the role of Michael Corleone in The Godfather, but he turned that down as well.
He's not
because
Italian.
No, well, that's why. He
Yeah.
turned it down because he thought it should go to an Italian actor. He was also considered for the role of Tom Hagen.
Tom
Who was-
Hagen.
Yeah,
Consigliere.
Robert Duvall.
Robert Duvall.
Robert Duvall.
Oh, right, the accountant.
Yeah.
Right.
He also considered for Silence of the Lambs as well.
Yeah,
which you could see him
ooh.
making a good fist of.
He could be a good- he'd be good- a good
As
handler.
Meeks.
It's Miggs. It's Miggs.
Meeks.
Yeah.
I always say Meeks.
Tamo, did you just demote him to the accountant in the Godfather film? He's a consigliere.
Yeah.
He's the trusted advisor.
At least for one movie,
to-
anyway.
Oh,
He gets fucking shafted.
why don't you marry
I
him?
won't copy him as an accountant.
He would have, look, in saying that, I think that Jack Nicholson could have easily played the part of Miggs.
Yeah,
I think he would have definitely had a good fling on him.
Would he? And the remember we talked about the audition process
definitely.
to get Miggs. It was a dartboard set up 3 meters away. Who can
Who can hit the bullseyes?
180?
180 and 20 and 15.
So you know the flick scene.
the flick scene.
Where Miggs flicks the semen into Clarice's face and hair.
Yeah, that's what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
we're talking
Yeah,
about
flick
the.
scene.
There was a big
Dartboard.
Yeah, big dartboard. That's how they auditioned.
Audition process. Sit
Yeah,
down there,
right.
aim for the dartboard. Whoever gets closest, you got the role.
You've got the part.
Yeah.
All right, we're nearly done with the cast, so keep going, Gav.
All right.
Well, that's one person.
That's one. There's
we're
not
nearly
many
done.
more, though.
Wow.
Shelley Duvall. So her first role was in a Robert Altman movie in 1970 called Brewster McCloud. She was in Annie Hall in 77
The
with Woody
sequel
Allen.
was Brewster's Millions. Now, if you haven't seen that,
Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor.
With the sequel, they decided to do a real sharp left turn.
Yeah, they did.
And,
It's still got Brewster in it.
it's still got Brewster.
And then,
But she was in Popeye as well this year in 1980.
Oh, dear. That's
she's
Robert
a
Altman
very-
as well.
She's a very good olive oil
She
looking
was perfectly cast.
cast. Yeah.
She was in Roxanne as well, and Suburban Commando with Hulk Hogan and Christopher Lloyd in 91. Recently, this year was in a movie called The Forest Hills, but in between that, not a lot of stuff.
She was
going on.
recovering from the filming of
yeah.
The Shining.
After Kubrick's
Yeah,
treatment.
after Kubrick
Broke
put
her.
it through the ringer.
Yeah.
Is she any good in this movie? Let's just start there.
I like her. I think she's great.
She's not a very good runner.
Oh,
she's a bad runner.
she's in Sporting Prowess, a few issues there, but
She's got the light hands.
I really liked her. I really liked her. And holy crap, she could have a durry with the longest ash on it in the history of ash on a cigarette. It was a solid inch before that thing was falling off. That was the most anxious I felt in the whole movie. Where's this ash going to fall?
And into his sandwich.
No, all this when she was talking to the counsellor lady. Have a look at the size of the ash on that durry.
Yeah.
Huge. But I really liked Shelley Duvall in this. I felt so sorry for her.
Horrendous teeth.
Yeah.
Beautiful eyes.
So
Massive eyes.
She got good eyes. There are a couple of scenes there in the close-ups where, particularly, she's looking down at the typewriter and Kubrick's shooting up. Her lips, her
from
eyes.
the typewriter.
She's backlit.
Yeah.
She actually is strikingly classical, beautiful-looking.
Careful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Careful, Croaks.
I don't want to make any kind of.
Careful.
Should I? Please.
well, yet again, she wasn't a favourite. Well, Stanley Kubrick really wanted her for the role because he wanted that type of person in the role that was, was not very good. Not very strong. So
Yes.
that kind of person.
She certainly portrayed that.
Yeah.
So in the book, she's more of a ex-cheerleader type mum,
Yes.
And she's blonde.
buxom blonde.
And she's
Not that I've read.
And,
yeah,
and
that's
what, and
right.
Stephen
yes.
King was looking at other actors for that part for that reason.
Yeah.
But Kubrick wanted that style.
King cast Rebecca De Mornay in De Mornay
Yes.
in 96.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good in risky business. Very good.
So Rebecca De Mornay and Ellen Barkin are those confusing lead actors, female kind. We might have called them actresses back in the day. But are they hot? I don't know. They kind of are, and then I'm not sure. And it's all a bit strange.
Do you remember the Seinfeld episode where Jerry had the girlfriend
course.
and in the right
Yeah.
light she was gorgeous, but then in other lights she was really ugly? I think that Rebecca De Mornay is that actress. She can. You look at her and you go, "Gosh, she's gorgeous," and then you might see her again and go, "Oh."
She has. Well, Ellen Barkin is a bit of a snaggle nose
Yeah.
too. Bit of an
Big
Owen
time,
Wilson.
big time
But
snaggle
I'd
nose.
say she's still a good sort.
Sea of Love.
Yeah.
She became even a sex symbol.
She
And
did.
Siesta.
No uglier sex scene than Al Pacino and Ellen Barkin.
Really?
If you get an erection there, you got issues.
Oops.
All right. Well, Danny Lloyd, who plays the role of Danny Torrance in
Big
the movie.
movie career.
Big movie career. He's actually now a biology teacher at a university. So there was only there was one more movie. He did one more movie after this, but then he was only 6 at the time. Out of the
Is he
game.
6 in this movie?
Yeah.
It's crazy to think how well he acted in this.
Yeah.
He's great.
And was
Yeah.
And the reason he had him because he Stanley Kubrick wanted because his ability to concentrate for long periods of time. But you just think a 6-year-old being able to
I know.
hold some of those lines and work with the actors like that is so good.
Well, just the
Well, yeah, apparently he didn't know he was making a horror film.
Okay.
Kubrick was very
No.
sensitive to that.
yeah.
And so he just knew, I'm shooting this scene where this thing happens, and Kubrick kept
no
him out
context.
of context.
Yeah.
You watch that scene where he's sitting with Halloran, and they're talking about The Shine.
Yep.
And he understates beautifully everything, but he's still present. He's listening.
He's got his chocolate around his
He's
mouth.
got the chocolate around his mouth.
Yeah.
I think it's right next to Henry Thomas, the best performance from a child actor in any film.
Which is Henry Thomas?
E.T.
E.T.
Elliot.
Oh, right. Yeah, Elliot.
You
Yeah.
seen that footage where he auditions for
Yeah, I got it on the thing. Yeah.
Oh man, that's magic,
Mate, that's another one. That's a 2.5 million views. That one.
And Spielberg setting off camera.
You got the job, kid.
Got the job, kid.
Right.
And he's there.
Do you know that on our TikTok that the casting director has commented on that video?
Wow.
On my TikTok, she was there. She goes, "That's my voice that you can hear in the background."
Fantastic.
So yeah,
Wow.
so
What a moment.
yeah, incredible. Very. We're big
I'd
stuff.
like to circle back
Trust us.
on child actors a little bit further down. I've been biting my
Morgs is
fucking
one of
tongue
Morgs'
here.
favourite.
So,
Aussie
Croaksy, I'm very, very interested in this topic, and we'll come back to it. So stand by.
He loves an Aussie child actor. That's for sure.
Yes, yes.
All right, just quickly, we'll go with Scatman Crothers.
Yeah.
I'm a scat man.
He's a scat man.
Now, can we so before we get there, it's just a dirty perv, scat man.
His bedroom.
He's got
his
the
bedroom's
nude,
interesting.
the nude photos behind his bed.
Yes.
He's got the wank bank in front of him, and then when he needs to turn around,
Paintings.
yeah, he's got the
Well,
paintings.
it's
It's
not
all
like he
over.
could just dial up onto the interweb and get
No,
his kicks.
no.
Like a photo of
But you
Farrah
get
Fawcett back
Playboy.
in the day, and you could have a dick like Damo.
It reminded me
From the side.
the big photo behind the bed reminded me of one Craig Plimmer's master bedroom with the naked photos up behind the bed.
Yeah, he did have a fair bit in his room, didn't
Mate, he's she's German. She doesn't know any better.
We've all used it.
Maybe.
All right, good old Scatman. Now, he was in an early movie. He's in Black Belt Jones.
Oh,
With Jim Kelly from Enter the Dragon fame.
yes.
Yeah, he was in that early on. He's in, obviously, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in 75 as well with
Oh,
Jack
okay.
Nicholson. Yeah. He was in Zapped. Do you remember Zapped?
Yes.
Willie
Scott
Ames.
Baio.
Scott
Yeah,
Baio.
Scott
Willie
Baio,
Ames.
Willie Ames.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
But it's a great cover.
Yeah.
It's got the red skirt with the arse, and they're zapping the
You
arse.
think
Zapping
it's
it.
going to be full of boobs,
Yeah.
and there's none in it.
Yeah. Well, it's Scott Baio.
And Heather Thomas, maybe.
I think it was Heather Thomas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Willie Ames from. 80s
Nah,
and
you're
Up.
thinking of
Bradford's.
Ellen Locklear.
Yeah.
Was it
No, I
Locklear?
don't know. I think it's Locklear. I can't remember, but it's a blonde one.
It's a blonde
One of
Heather.
them- No, it's not Locklear. It's not Heather Locklear.
I think it's Heather Thomas.
Yeah, I think
Was it
is.
TJ Hooker or the other one?
Fall Guy, wasn't
Fall
it?
Guy. I think it's Fall
Fall
Guy.
Guy,
How did that theme song go?
I'm not the
the
kind
kind
to kiss and tell, but I've been seen with Farrah. I've never been with anything less than a 9. So fine.
Beautiful. Wow. Wow, right there.
Yeah.
In the pocket.
They're never far away.
When I wind up in the hay, it's only hay. Hey, hey.
Continue, Jimmy.
Wow.
That's it. Oh, he's in Two of a Kind in 84 with John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mate, what about his legs? Mate, he's got the most bow-legged legs ever. Looks like his right leg's been broken 17 times. Like I was actually having to rub my own leg watching him.
Poor old Scat.
You were rubbing your leg.
Yeah, because I
while you
was
were-
like, I'm thinking, God, he must be in some pain. He
Rubbing
must
your
be in
upper
some
leg.
pain. Well, I was
Yeah.
upper inner thigh.
Over Scatman.
I may have touched my sack.
He reminds me a bit of my departed grandfather. What the fuck, Chuck? He used to have quite the bow legs. So yeah.
Ow.
Why do cowgirls walk bow-legged?
Oh, you told me. I've heard.
Because cowboys eat with their hats on.
That's right.
We do.
Scatman.
We do.
Over to you, Gal.
All right, let's move on. That's it.
But imagine if your name is named after shit. Like
Yeah.
Scat.
Scat.
It's named
Scats-
after. He's named after scat music and bebop.
Yeah.
Mate,
He'd be big
it's
in
named after.
Germany.
Who calls scat shit?
It's a derivative of scatology, which is the study of fecal
my
matter through historical time.
I did 4 units scat at
Yeah,
school.
I did 4 units scat.
Yeah.
And, passed with flying colours.
Yeah.
Well done,
have a
G-Man.
passion.
What about the any awards, budget,
All right, here we go.
box office?
So the gross for this movie was 45.7 million. Opening weekend it only did 622,000 on a budget of 19 million.
Wow.
So it made
that's
its money
a
back.
bad start.
Look, good year 1980. You know what the best picture was? Best
Empire Strikes Back.
Best director? No. The awards?
Oh fuck, who cares?
Ordinary People.
Yeah, that's where we get. That's where we get the.
That's where we get it from.
the thing from. Ordinary
So
People.
look, this was number 17. The Shining was number 17 that year, money wise at 45.7. I said Star Wars 2, The Empire, or Star Wars 5, The Empire Strikes Back was 549 million. 9 to 5 came in second. Stir Crazy, great year for movies.
9 to
Airplane,
5's a great movie.
Any Which Way You Can, Private Benjamin, Coal Miner's Daughter, Blues Brothers.
Could you imagine 4 or 5 comedies being in the top 10 movies of the year nowadays? It just wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Would not
It's
happen.
crazy. Caddyshack was out that year, and there's so many.
Yeah.
Flash Gordon.
Yeah. Savior of the universe.
Raging Bull. Raging Bull won a heap of awards that year.
Yeah.
Obviously, Robert De Niro
Robert
got
De
Best
Niro.
Actor.
Joe Pesci. Did he get Best Supporting Actor?
No, Timothy Hutton got it for Ordinary People.
Do we still do Hit Sleep a Dud as a,
Yep.
as a segment?
Yeah, it's coming.
So Gal's just reading out every film in 1980, so that we don't have any to talk about. Is that the go?
Yes.
You're full of scat, Morgs.
I think it would be remiss of us to not mention Kubrick. And I know Croaks is a massive Kubrick fan, but an absolute visionary. There's been movies after the fact that have been made, like AI, and there's a couple other movies that were scripts of his and stuff that he had been obviously Steven Spielberg just took over and finished what he had done. But Croaks, tell us a little bit about what Kubrick means to you, because I know that your favourite movie of all time is a Kubrick film, and it's not Full Metal Jacket.
No, it's 2001: A Space Odyssey. Really quick, I saw that when I was a kid on a double feature. My parents took me, and it was 2001 followed by Star Wars. We all wanted to see Star Wars.
Of course we did.
And I remember I came out of that cinema. That obviously Star Wars blew off the back of my brain, but I hated 2001 for a good 20 plus years. And I remember thinking as I got older, and we were talking about this off mic, great art doesn't change, but we change, right? So as we get older and we start to think differently and we have experiences, I sat down and watched 2001 in my mid-30s, and I can still remember the day when I watched it. And I thought, I've got to give this movie a chance. Maybe I'm missing it. And it clicked. And I hold that as the greatest achievement in cinema for all time. And I put The Shining right up there as well. I think what I love about Kubrick is he didn't give a shit about what the market was asking for. He didn't give a shit about what he thought the audience needed. He gave a shit about art, and he gave a shit about cinema, and he was uncompromising. I think that's why his movies, we're still talking about him.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think he was a kind of artist, and I think Nolan's probably similar. Terrence Malick probably falls into that same space where there's, I'm making this and I'm using the art form to tell this story. You're going to have to keep up with me. You're going to have to. I found 2001, like The Shining, is multi-layered and reveals itself through multiple viewings. As you age, it gives you more, it becomes richer.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I've got no
I'd
side
say
dick
to
reference
that-
in there, I know, but
No. The only thing I'd add, Craig, I think that's a very, very series of good points. But I would just like to say that Gow hasn't changed. So he still loves what he loves, and fucking good luck to him is what I say.
Okay, well done, gents. Let's move into 1980 hit sleeper dud. Now I'm going to lead away because I'd be disappointed if someone else doesn't have this movie, but I don't think anyone does. It's just got to be Empire Strikes Back, the greatest Star Wars movie ever made. Even 43 years on, it has never been even remotely come close to, apart from the original. Even today, they still can't get the mix right, and which they did in that second film, which took everything that they did in the first one and doubled down and made the best Star Wars movie, hands down. There's nothing more to be said. So anyway, Damo, hit.
I've gone for Superman 2.
Wow.
Yeah, I loved it as a kid. I don't know what, I haven't seen it for 30 years or maybe more. But as a kid, I thought it was so good having those three prism. Yeah, Zod broke out of that, whatever they're in, that glass sort of
the prism. Yeah.
Prism, yeah. And to have them battling on it, I just remember I loved it as a kid. I just really enjoyed that movie.
Interesting because such a shitty production. Like Richard Donner got sacked.
Yeah.
And they've actually there's an actual Donner cut, which you can watch now, which is the movie that he wanted, but a much shorter version of the first movie. It's essentially the first movie again, but
yeah,
it's good. I like Superman too. Morgs hates the first Superman.
Yeah, but as a kid, I just thought it was just sensational, and maybe only second to Empire in that year.
Yeah,
we're not back then watching it.
Yeah, Dan, what do you got up there on the land?
Oh, Gow stole my thunder a little, but not really. He just mentioned Flash Gordon, which I really love. And it's because it was one of my famous 4 films on VHS that I used to watch all the time.
Oh, from the library.
Gordon's alive! I've seen
von
it
Sydow,
so many times. Max von Sydow. The
Topol.
former NFL player Sam J. Jones as the star as well, proving to have quite a bit of superhero chops. But yeah, it's no secret that I can't stand the latest iteration of superhero flicks. But this one, it's camp as fuck. It's awesome. It was filmed on the same sound stages actually as The Shining there in the UK, so that has nothing to do with it really. But just thought I'd throw that in. Yeah, really good flick, and I think worth a revisit if you haven't seen it for 40 years.
You were never a Flesh Gordon guy?
I remember Flesh Gordon.
Yes. Oh, my ass. No? Just me?
Flesh Gordon was a fantastic movie. It was just tits galore.
Croaks, what do you got? What do you got for hit apart from Flesh Gordon?
You can't beat Empire. I agree with you. And I watched that recently with my kids, and it felt like I was watching it for the first time. Yeah. The production design. I don't think there's a flaw in that film.
There's not. In fact, I think it's got the best looking scene in all of Star Wars, which is the Vader Skywalker fight at the end, where it's the orange and it's before he goes down the trap. And it's just it's fucking beautiful. It's brilliant.
It is a beautiful film to look at. Yeah, it's and it's better with age. It's great art.
Yeah.
When you watch the first one and you love it and you think it's so good, and then the second one comes out and it's better.
Yeah,
arguably better.
Just doesn't happen.
You're just thinking, wow. Like, I remember coming out, just thinking, that's the greatest. That's the greatest of all time.
And you're all pissed off at the end too. When they go, what? That can't end now. No way.
But you're just hanging there. You're just hanging for that third one.
Yeah.
I know that we're not all fans of Empire. Sorry, the Return of the Jedi. I know we do. It's kind of it obviously puts a full stop on the story arc, but it's really interesting how the second film, how much shit the characters have to get over and how much adversity they face, and a lot of them don't. So it's kind of as an arc, I think it's perfectly set up, and it's so different to Star Wars being very much comic book strip, whereas this one we're just buying in a lot more to, I guess, the more depth of all of the characters and the adversity that is chucked in front of them.
Absolutely. G-Man?
Obviously Empire. I had two others up there that
you've done them all.
No, just to say them. One was the Blues Brothers, because it's so good, such a great musical show.
So there's a lot of. I also really like the Blues Brothers Gow. A lot of people fucking hate it. I don't. Croaksy, where do you sit on this? And Damo, what's your thoughts?
I do love the Blues Brothers. I was actually listening to the soundtrack probably 2 weeks ago. Really like
everyone had the soundtrack, and it was
everybody.
Orange Whip.
Yep.
No, I watched it about 3 weeks ago too, but it's shit, but it's also freaking funny. I'm on a mission from God. It was just funny. Yeah. It's just stupid.
We've had a lot of beers now last time, and we've had a lot of beers with Morgs, and him saying orange whip, 3 orange whips every time he has a shout.
Does not grow off.
Which is not very fucking often. He said it.
He said it
3 times in 30 fucking years.
But the other one was Any Which Way You Can.
Oh, I love Philo Beto.
Philo Beto. Both movies are awesome.
That's the sequel, yeah?
Yep, that's the sequel.
Still
Every
Right
Way
Turn
But Loose
Clyde.
is the
Right
first.
Turn Clyde, yeah.
Yep.
Right
Great movie.
Can I drop one in there while we're dropping a few more in? Can I just throw one more in there?
Go for it.
Jane Seymour, Christopher Reeve, Somewhere in Time.
Oh,
Written by
wow.
Richard Matheson.
No, I don't even recall it.
It's great. And I remember watching that as a kid, and I still remember I was laying on the floor with Mum and Dad. Well, I wasn't laying on the floor with them. They're sitting up on the couch, and I'm laying on the floor watching this film, and it stayed with me. It's very hard to find. Richard Matheson wrote a lot of great stuff. I'm sure I got that name right. Twilight Zone episodes and so on. Great fantasy writer. But Somewhere in Time is a solid film.
Okay.
It's a romantic film. It's a love story related to time travel and a man who meets the woman of his dreams only to go. Christopher Plummer, isn't it, as the villain?
He is.
Wow.
It's
Georg.
worth a look.
Here we go. A Chicago playwright uses self-hypnosis to travel back in time and meet the actress whose vintage portrait hangs in a grand hotel.
Creepy.
Scatman would want to do that with his
and it's not
portraits.
the Overlook.
Yeah, right.
The hotel is the centerpiece of the story.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Sleeper. I have got The Final Countdown. Kirk Douglas. Modern aircraft carriers thrown back in time to 1941. Near Hawaii, just hours before the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor.
Eddie and the Cruisers.
Yeah.
Michael Parr?
Michael Paré.
Paré, yes.
Yeah. It's a great movie. Kirk Douglas in his sort of the back end, but still sort of in his prime in the early in 1980. Really good movie. Goes back and they sort of stop Pearl Harbor from happening. Very cool. Very cool. The USS Nimitz goes back in time through a time vortex.
And so they're actually in the air when the Japanese arrive.
So they're there. They're watching the all the bombers go over and
my God.
the Zeros fly over. It's really cool.
My God.
Okay, G-Man.
Sorry, I'm just still thinking about Jane Seymour. You guys keep talking.
Yeah. Good sort. Dr. Quinn.
Dan's going to go have a dick. G-Man,
All right.
sleeper.
My sleeper. I've got 3 words for you.
Here we go.
Sakura. Now that's the Octagon. I know that Sloan will agree with me. He loves this. The Octagon. Chuck Norris in 1980 with Lee Van Cleef.
Lee Van. He had a good evil face too.
Yeah.
Him and Jack Nicholson. Yeah.
That's that. No. That's Lee Van Cleef.
I was kind of confused.
Right. That's off.
Yeah. He was in Flesh Gordon. Yeah.
Oh my ass.
Yeah, crack of a movie. A martial artist must defend a plan by ninjas to create a worldwide training camp for terrorists. It's just Chuck at his best. He cleans house against his long-lost Japanese brother.
Yeah, well, we've all got a Japanese brother somewhere.
So, yeah, cracker of a movie.
Croaksy, sleeper.
No, look, I think I probably gave mine a little early.
Yeah, you did. That's
I
okay.
did, but it's
That's okay.
Somewhere in
Somewhere
time.
in time.
It'll put a tear in your thigh.
I like it.
Right.
I like it. Damo.
I've gone for the Aussie The Club.
Oh, mate, what a great movie.
Yeah.
What a great movie.
Yeah, Jack Thompson.
Graham Kennedy.
David Williamson?
Yeah, based on a play.
playwright,
I've seen the play as well. The play's very good.
It's a funny movie.
Mate,
It's
I
Aussie
watched
as-
it about 2 months ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was just on. It was on maybe on Foxtel.
Yeah.
I was caught at the very start, and it's so funny. He's up his mum and his legless sister, and
with old Jock.
Oh my, Jock's the best. What
Yeah,
a dickhead!
I know.
What a dickhead!
Yeah.
Were you a Don's party guy?
Oh, that was that sort of Alvin Purple.
Yeah.
Is that elk? Is that elk?
That's
Is that elk?
Nice.
Yeah. Dan, what do you got for sleeper?
I don't know if Gow touched on it earlier, but it was 1980, of course, the year that we first got to see Fame prior to the TV series, which we all loved. The film came out. Yeah. Irene Cara as Coco. I mean, she touched our hearts.
Baby, look
Gene
at
Anthony
me
Ray as Leroy.
and tell me what you see. You ain't seen the best of me yet.
Give me love, I'll make you forget the rest.
I think you guys liked it even more than me. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
No, we always love Leroy's pants.
Leroy's
in
pants.
Fame. So wear those
Oh, yeah.
pants over those tracky dacks.
Leroy's pants have got a big run on this show.
They get mentioned a lot.
Gow swears that I've run Leroy's pants with leg warmers in our lifetime, and it is absolute bullshit. But there was a time in the 80s where I would have done it if it was an option.
Nah,
so.
I know I did do it once.
At the height of your musical, Fad Morgs, you ran them.
There was no leg warmers. That's absolute bullshit. But yes, love Fame.
And the only reason-
actually got to give it a
I
revisit.
think
with the
actually
kids.
when he was just rehearsing, he wore them over the top of the Phantom suit.
The problem is that the leg warmers kept falling off his calves. They were just falling down. He kept tripping over them. He went to Target Kids, bought a kid's skivvy, cut the arms off, used them as leg warmers.
Me and Chris Latham. You used to hate it when Chris Latham's socks used to fall down at the back for the Reds and for the Wallabies. And I sympathised with him because I could not keep socks up on my calves either. So.
Okay, 1980 dud. I have Raise the Titanic.
Ooh.
Jason Robards, Ann Archer.
Robards.
Yes.
I quite like
he's
Jason
a mate of
Robards.
ours.
I'm with you.
So it's pretty much a corporation is trying to raise the Titanic. It is shocking. I actually downloaded this about 3 months ago and tried to watch it. Got about 40 minutes through it. Fell asleep. Woke up with about 30 minutes to go and turned it off. It's not good. Do not watch. Move on. Croaks, what do you got for dud?
I went and saw Raise the Titanic at the movies at the Fiesta Cinema
There we
at
go.
Raymond Terrace outside of Newcastle.
Wow.
And I remember all that detail because it was fucking terrible. It's bad. For me, the shit one, I'm sure I've got my year right. Tell me if not. The Gods Must Be Crazy.
You do have the right. It was the
That's it.
Yeah.
with the Coke bottle.
Yeah.
And the other
It became a massive.
It became a
hit.
massive-
huge.
Fucking hated
I
it.
went to the movies too to see it.
I heard all the reviews as a kid.
Yeah,
They're saying it's the greatest comedy of all
Yeah.
time. I sat there with a bunch of friends. I had a friend of mine called Willow. Willow, if you're listening, you'll know what happened in the cinema. He was too down for me. I'm not going into detail, but the only memory I have is of what he got up to in 2 seats down from me. And that movie came on, and we were sitting there thinking, there is nothing funny about it.
No.
What is this garbage?
It was mate. It was no Weekend at Bernie's,
No,
which is
well,
obviously the greatest comedy of all time.
that was funny. But no, my mum and dad, took us to go and see it, and I was like, this is crap.
You
But
remember that sound? What was that sound about? What's that about?
that's how they talk.
Oh,
That's their language.
Oh, so there was no
Yeah.
spoken
Clicking
words.
sounds.
Clicks and pops.
Oh,
No,
wow.
it's the actual.
I've been out with a
the
couple
Maasai
guys.
Warriors or whatever they.
I've been out with a couple of guys that have been to the bathroom and come back and spoken in clicks and pops.
Yep.
Dan, what do you got for Dud?
I have for Dad, we definitely touched on it. It is relevant because of the actors in this film, one of which was a star in Popeye, which Robert Altman, what the fuck were you thinking? I mean, this was an absolute travesty of a film. Robin Williams with all the prosthetics on, just an awful, awful movie, and lambasted by anyone with any taste in film. And unfortunate that it was a waste of a great director. And Robert Williams, obviously one of our favourite actors subsequently in a lot of other projects a little closer to the 90s. But horrible, horrible, horrible film.
Yep, can't disagree there. G-Man, Dud.
I'm going with Herbie Goes Bananas.
You use this movie. But you've got a real fucking thing with Herbie, don't you?
Really,
Yeah, I like
not
it.
good.
I like your hate.
They're not good.
Yeah, feel the hate.
The adorable little VW helped its owners break up a counterfeiting ring in Mexico.
yeah.
there you
And
go.
then what's wrong with that?
Was Don Knotts in that?
Probably.
Cloris Leachman was in this one.
Oh.
And Charles Martin Smith.
Oh, he went on to huge
Yeah,
things.
good old Chuck, yeah.
Do you guys watch trailers for new movies, like for 2024 films and stuff on YouTube?
Sometimes, yeah.
Have you seen one with Jason Statham called The Beekeeper?
Yes, I have seen it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The ridiculous quotient has been turned up beyond 12 out of 10. I don't know what I thought. Just ridiculous premise, obviously, with a V-dub solving crimes. But Jason Statham also solving crimes is a ridiculous premise. But do yourself a favour, go onto YouTube and type in The Beekeeper movie, and wowzers. It is fucking Looney Tunes, and I can't wait to see it. Gal, you're
already on it. I'm already on it, Walt. Minnie Driver's in it as well.
Well, she
Yes.
hasn't done anything since Good Will Hunting.
No.
Circle of Friends. Anyway, okay, well done. That's it. Sleeper Dud for tonight.
I'm missing one though.
Haven't you done?
No.
What-
One
what-
dud. Quick one.
Go. Fuck.
Well, if you
Morgs.
if you actually included me in the duds, I would have said it then.
Okay,
So now I'll say
Damo.
as an extra.
Damo, what's your dud?
Because I watched this last week, Xanadu.
Oh,
And I can't believe how
yeah.
shit it was.
yeah, it's
Come on.
terrible.
Do you know that she is... I didn't get it. She was the daughter of Zeus. She was a muse, came down with her 8 or 9 sisters to inspire people. It was such crap.
That last sequence on the roller
Oh,
blades.
those roller skates. It was roller
Look how
skate
inclusive
overload.
it is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of inclusion in that last performance of Xanadu.
Yeah, I know.
Every colour, every shape and size. And I got to say, I think Jeff Lynn's score is
Oh,
incredible.
Jeff Lynn's amazing.
It was
Live.
It was such a terrible...
Damo.
And it's got Swan from the Warriors as the
Wasn't
main
does.
guy.
Yeah,
And
wasn't
Yeah.
I don't think
wasn't
Living
this
Thing's in there, but
wasn't this one of
a
Purpse's
couple of good-
Wasn't this one of Purpse's favourites?
No, she went like Grease too.
Grease 2.
But this, I can't
What was
believe
what
how
was the name of
shit
the
it was.
male lead though? What was
Swan.
It's Swan from the Warriors.
Yes, Michael Beck's his name.
mate? That's
And-
it, Michael Beck. Excellent hair.
Yes, he is you.
He's got great hair.
He said the Warriors opened a lot of doors for him, and Xanadu closed them all.
That's a great quote.
Well done. Okay, so Damo, can we go to question time now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, question time. What are your thoughts on spending 5 months alone at the Overlook? Would you take the job?
Yeah, I'd love it.
I'd
That'd be
take
great.
it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Even with what, well, I guess you don't know, but 5 months alone with your wife and child? Croaksy?
I don't think I could do it.
Yeah.
I worked in China for a little while and spent 6 weeks alone in a hotel room. And I didn't mind being alone. I think if you bring wife and kids into it, we're all asking for trouble.
Well, it's COVID all over again.
Yeah.
It's a pretty bloody big place, though.
There's a lot of space.
There's a lot of room,
a lot of space.
a lot of place. There was plenty of food.
Lots of
Cruxy,
food.
What? They smashed it up.
I've heard a lot about female actors going to Japan under the guise of being an entertainer in a nightclub.
Right.
And the tasks that they're asked to perform aren't quite the cabaret singing that they thought they would do. Were you a Chinese geisha when you went to China?
No, I was what was termed in the industry as an LBAD. So it's a look-back actor/dancer. And, it was no touching, just look and I'll look back at you. And I'm only there to keep you company, not to keep you satisfied. It was the best of times and the worst of times.
Oh
Charles
my
Dickens.
God.
Which part of China, Croaksy? Which part of China?
I was in a little part of town called Zhuhai. And
Goodness.
life was tough there. It was tough. I had a little bit of cabin fever myself in the hotel room there. It was odd. I had the only way I could communicate was through a guy that was my translator, who I'd get access to 3 or 4 times a week. And outside of that, you kind of had to...
I think it would
that's
actually
hardcore.
get draining. And even we know from the Simpsons that Homer couldn't handle it either.
No.
Because they basically when Monty Burns left, he said, "Let's take all the beer and remove the cable." And that was like Homer was like he just
all work and no play makes Homer something.
so Homer,
Go crazy! Don't mind if I do.
so it was the no beer and the no cable killed it for Homer. So I think it probably would get to you.
Yeah, I think it would. Okay.
Would you sign up for that job?
Well, it'd have to be some money, wouldn't
If you're a writer and you're a legitimate writer, be like, this is perfect. For his circumstance, it was perfect.
As the only writer on the team. I would
hang on.
I would actually enjoy the solace, and I would find a way to lock the wife and the child in the storage cupboard that Jack magically is able to escape from later in the film. But I would put 2 locks on there so the spirits could not unlock them, and I think it would be wonderful if that was the case.
It wouldn't matter to you because you don't eat. So that's fine.
But I'll just touch on there. So, as you said, so Morgs is a writer and Croaks is a writer. Now, just quickly, you wrote a story for Dale Buggins. How many versions did you write?
I, over 2 years, wrote about 8 drafts of a screenplay to tell the life story of Dale Buggins. For those that don't know, Dale was our first daredevil.
Yeah, Evil
and
Knievel.
He was like an Evil Knievel.
He was Aussie Evil Knievel, yeah.
That's right. And I saw him at Newcastle at the Speedway as a young kid. And I had this memory of him going past with a big cape, riding a bike, jumping over buses. Tragically took his life in his early 20s. And it's a story that's just been lost to time. But I spent about 2 years. I did a lot of writing in China when I was in that hotel room. I actually got my first draft finished in that space, sent it off. And I've heard nothing since. So, I think there was the life I had before the screenplay that was going to open some doors, and then after I sent it out, they all shut.
Yeah, because I'm working on my own screenplay here, and we brought it up a few times. It's a new Stormboy, but using ibises.
Love it. What's it called?
Bin chicken.
I haven't really worked.
Bin chicken boy. Bin chicken boy.
Still in works. Yeah. But it's
a
going to be
whip.
huge. It's going to be huge.
I sympathise with that, Croaksy. I also have many projects in pre-production, and also understand that writing is rewriting. Unfortunately, it's not what lands on the page in that first finger tap. It's multiple revisions. So yeah, I mean, to do that in China, that's really interesting. Dale Buggins, I do remember that from my childhood. Him being
there is
the
a
Aussie
story there to be
Evil Knievel.
told sometime, and who will do that? I don't know. It may not be me.
Sounds like it won't be.
It's pretty likely it won't be.
I'll cast you in my.
Who would you?
my
Yeah, who
Stormboy
did you have
Ibis
in
show.
mind? So when you were playing the movie in your head, who were your actors portraying the main parts?
I never really got that far into it. I always imagined Sam Neill as the father.
Okay.
I thought Sam Neill would be great as the dad that was, in some respects, looking to live his dreams through his son a little bit, with the little bit of research that I could do. But I didn't really get that deep.
Alex Paps.
Alex
Oh,
Paps. He had a Scott Baio thing about him, don't you think?
He did.
Totally.
He did.
Alex Papsmere.
Oh,
Okay. All right. Fuck.
wow.
Okay, so is the hotel only haunted in the winter? Because everyone seems to be quite happy, cruising around. No one's having a problem. It's all, see you later, Mr. Ullman, you know. And then as soon as everyone leaves, the ghosts are like, we're out now.
Now, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Is it? Daniel, any thoughts on this one?
Well, I would also say that Gow and I on our travels, we obviously we lived for some time in Canada at ski resorts, and I would say that looking up on that left face that is behind the hotel would make some pretty magical skiing. And the fact that that place closed in winter, despite the bullshit about clearing roads. I mean, Gow and I could have got out with our shovels and had that 25 miles done in what, a day, Gow?
Wow.
Easily.
So I call bullshit on the whole. It would even be closed for the winter thing. But yeah, I can't even remember the question.
So do you? Yeah. Well,
No, the ghosts only come out at winter. Probably because the people in summer, it's full. They're scared of them. I don't know.
So then, is the place closed because of what happened in the past at winter, or is it?
No, it's up in. To me, it's up in the mountains, and they can't. There's no access to it in winter. They can't get there unless they're in the snowcats.
All right.
So that's the reason.
And they brought that up specifically to say why it's empty.
That's closing down.
Yep.
All right.
The sidewinder can't be opened.
We're going to leave tons of food for you.
Did anyone notice the amount of luggage that the Torrances brought?
That was in my bag.
Everyone is carrying one suitcase who have been there for the 7 months of the year. They have got 26 pieces of luggage. What the fuck are they doing?
How did they fit it into their Herbie VW?
Yeah.
It's Herbie, I'm telling you.
Man, it is no,
Well,
but
you're anti-Herbie.
and they weren't. There was no suitcases of shit on
There's
the roof.
no way that was all fitting in Herbie. That's a very good call, Gow. Unless it was the fucking TARDIS, it wasn't getting in there.
Do you know what it is? Have you you would have seen this, I think, Daniel. I don't know if Croaksy, if Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah.
The girl with the big vagina. Big vagina. Maybe Wendy had a big vagina. She held all the luggage in the vagina. So anyway, she was calling the small penis, but it's not. You got a big vagina. So anyway, Larry David, you're the man. Okay, so is Jack a cock, or does he just start to go insane very early? Because he's pretty much a cock before it snows. G-Man.
Well, in the book, he's a recovering alcoholic.
Yep.
Right, and coming back to do his writing. That doesn't get really crossed in the movie. So at the start, he's just a bit of an oddball guy, and there's the whole story about how he's not close to his family because the incident has happened with Danny 3 years ago.
When he was drunk.
Yeah. So there's that, and I sort of got that feeling that there was a fair bit of room between them all. Like he was estranged from them a little bit. But I just thought it was because he's an oddball character. But the movie didn't really explain that too much. You didn't really get that backstory. But so to me, in the movie, he just sort of started to turn. Like he started writing one day and then he just flipped out. Like I know it's a month in, but he just flipped out at his wife for interrupting him.
Okay, so Croaksy.
What's the question you're asking?
Is he a cock, or does the hotel turn him?
No, I don't. I think that's where a lot of people bumped into it. And I did too for a long time. That he seems a little crazy from the get-go. But I think that's deliberate. I think when you're dealing with the caliber of a Nicholson and a Kubrick, they're making choices for the right reasons. I talked about choices before with a look back, for example. You don't do that. You don't do that just lightly.
Willy-nilly.
You make a choice.
You don't get a look up actor for that. You get a look back actor.
Yeah. That's right.
Croaksy couldn't have worn the bear suit.
No. My ass would have popped out. But I think what's happened is he's already on the edge. And I know King bumped into that too, that this is not the character that I created. There was a descent into madness.
Yes.
You're playing him on the edge right from the get-go. As I've watched the film again and again, I've come to like the idea that he is already on the edge. So the idea of the descent is easier to take. And particularly when you look at it with the idea that maybe there are no ghosts, which is a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
Well, see, that was the thing because Stephen King wanted someone like a John Voight because he wanted that character to be someone straight that descends in, whereas Kubrick took that decision to go, no, this guy's already on the edge, and that's Jack Nicholson plays that to a T.
And I think if you look into the history, what Kubrick did was he inverted King's book, right? So there's even that great shot where Halloran's coming back to the Overlook, and there's the crushed red beetle
Yes.
car.
Now,
There's been an accident.
what?
Well, that's a statement to King, because in the book, it's a red V-dub that's driving to the Overlook with Jack and the family.
That's right.
Right.
So Kubrick says, no, it's yellow. And I'm going to show you what I'll do with the red bug, because I'm crushing it.
Gotcha.
And it's almost like an
I
indicator
was
back
thinking,
to King
what
to say,
is this about?
Yeah, it's a
why
note.
is this Volkswagen under
It's
this
a-
truck?
It's a
no,
little
'cause
Easter egg for him,
It's
right?
an Easter
Yeah.
egg, because King
Wow.
and Kubrick did have discussions pre-production.
Yeah.
And Kubrick wanted to know what King's thoughts were about faith and the existence of God. And they did talk. And then King felt relatively comfortable. This guy's got it. And then obviously Kubrick's gone away and thought, no, I'm not making that book. In fact, I'm going to flip it. Even to the extent where I'm going to put a red beetle crushed under the weight of a truck.
Yeah.
There's these little statements that he's making. So I think that's a very deliberate choice for Jack.
And I agree, Craig. It's definitely not written on the page. I think that the way that Nicholson comes to the character, there's something wrong with the world today, and I don't know what it is, and something's wrong with our eyes, and we're seeing things in a
Stop
different
singing
way.
"Living on the Edge," you
And
wanker.
God knows it
Stop
ain't his.
singing "Living
It
on
sure
the
ain't
Edge."
No surprise.
Living on the edge.
On the edge.
Can't help yourself from falling.
Fucking hell. Fucking duck.
Wasn't that off the album?
boom,
Crank?
boom.
Was it or Pump?
No, Pump's the one before it. It's
Oh.
actually Get a Grip.
Right, Get a Grip.
Get a
Crank
Grip.
was a
Eat
Hoodoo
the
Gurus
Rich.
album.
Crank was the Hoodoo Gurus. Yep.
Okay, there
I
was
saw the Hoodoos recently, Crugsy. They were excellent.
How was it?
Yeah, really
Yeah,
good.
the Rex-
Really
that-
good.
You know,
They're a great band.
I'm actually going to the States in December, and the day that I get there, Aerosmith are playing it in LA.
You got to go see
And I looked them
Aerosmith.
up. They're about
They're getting
$500
on.
tickets, and they're
getting on.
behind the stage.
Wow.
Seen them
I
twice.
hope they don't go Bon Jovi on you.
Yeah,
No,
so-
is
mate,
it a-
Steven Tyler's voice is still
Still
fucking
killing it? Okay,
but
good.
I've passed. But I have bought tickets to go and see Depeche Mode. in
Oh,
LA.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, they've brought out their
Did-
15th studio.
Damo,
album.
what are you doing in the States? Is it just a Damo family?
No,
sojourn?
the girls are dancing at.
I was going to
Disneyland.
say, but
Again.
shouldn't you?
This
I
time it's
think-
Disneyland. Yeah.
Are you looking at potential agents for your dancing?
Oh,
when
I'll
you're
be
over
doing.
there?
I'll be doing also Born to Watch Con over there in LA.
I hope so.
It'll be
Excellent.
huge. I'll be
hope so.
rooting every single
beg your pardon?
fan. That's what Morgan did. Like, that's what we're supposed to do. I'm just following in Morgan's footsteps.
You got it.
Okay, last question. Last question. We could probably save this one towards the end. And in fact, we're going to save this for film school for fuckwits. But I'm effectively going to ask, what the fuck happened in this movie? And what does the ending mean? So we're going to get to that one. We're going to give you time to think about it. We're going to touch on that in film school for F-wits later on.
Yeah, good call.
Okay, so lighter note, here we go. Born to Watch only fans. Now we've reached out to the fan base, and they've come with the thunder. So we got one here from the Perp about the Karate Kid episode. Worst open mouth kiss ever. I had a boyfriend who modelled himself on that kissing. Wow. Still scarred. Ralph Macchio was my heartthrob, and why? Those skinny arms and geeky walk. Now, that's why she had a thing for you, Dan. That's not me.
I've got
That's
you
why
there,
she had a
Damo.
thing.
I've got
Now-
far less muscle definition.
Now, I got a phone call today from a great fan of ours. He has been on the podcast before. Let's see if you get it, Dan. The show's credibility has to be called into question.
That's a good start.
Now, this is in regards to the Behind Enemy Lines episode where someone
oh, God, thank you,
muttered,
it wasn't me.
someone uttered the words, "I thought I had seen it, but realised I hadn't."
Oh, that has to be Mr. S. Nixon for sure.
Yes, and he says, "I'm only 8 minutes in and I just had to call. He needs to be removed from the show."
That's a fair call.
Okay.
Can't disagree.
So, and what is excellent about this is we talked about it a couple of weeks ago that we're not really sure how many people listen to the show or who they are. So this is why we're doing this, so people can reach out to us. A few weeks ago, we talked about old Thunderlips Beitzer from back in the hood of Narrabeen.
Eric?
Old Eka, and mate, he reached out. And Morgs, you're going to like this because you like the lick outs, and then you'll probably pretend you don't like the lick outs. But here we go. This was from Thunderlips this afternoon. As soon as Morgs said, pig face lick outs, I knew who he was talking about. I haven't seen the movie for a while, but it has stayed with me for 40 years. Amazing description. Loved it. Now, Croaksy, last week for Karate Kid, Morg's named the guy that is like, get him a body bag in the background that is just there to lick out Johnny Lawrence, the guy and he called him pig face lick outs because he's got a bit of a piggy face. And so, look, it was quite humorous at the time. I laughed for about 5 minutes. He also said that...
I see it. Yeah.
I also can't believe Jessica Alba and Salma Hayek didn't make the list for non-aging. Dan?
Oh, excellent. Eka, great call, mate.
This here is this is up for debate.
Selma Hayek especially, that's a massive miss by me.
Yeah, that's
Great
a huge
pick
miss,
up,
Dan.
mate.
You were
Great
shit.
pick up. Yeah.
Shit at your job. And stop talking about Cromer High as the baddest school on the northern beaches. When you all know you were shit scared of Narrabeen High. You couldn't beat us at anything. I'll tell you what we couldn't do, Eric. I'll tell you one thing we couldn't do. We couldn't wear glad wrap around our cock, right? That's what we couldn't do. Our school allowed us to bring condoms to school. Our school allowed us to wear glad wrap on our sandwiches because we wouldn't use it as prophylactics. That's a Narrabeen High thing. Okay, mate? So stay in your lane.
Real strong points raised here.
Put your Cooter Lines jumper on and stay in your lane.
Excellent work, Eka. Great work, mate.
Okay, yeah.
Are we encouraging people to give feedback?
Keep bringing it.
Right.
Keep
okay.
bringing it.
And you, yeah.
We're asking for a dialogue here.
Okay.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. And we'll start with our guest, I think, for the good.
I love how the Overlook itself is a performer in this film.
Yeah, it's a character.
It's a character. That's what I'm after. And I think it's the first film where Kubrick's using liminal space, this idea of, misdirection. There's lots of stuff online about how when you look at the map of the building,
doesn't work.
It doesn't work. And I think that's all deliberate. I don't think any of it's by chance. And that movie stayed with me more for the fact of the way that it's shot. I think the cinematography is superb, and I think the real star of the film is the space.
Wow.
Yeah.
It does. It's a big room.
It's like he's an unreliable narrator, but he's an unreliable director. Like it's definitely leads us down so many paths, and just the use of space for the whole Overlook Hotel and the general manager's office that has no right to have a window backing on.
That's right.
From how he set up that space. It's just, and the way that Danny rides his little tricycle around, and it takes different loops around the same place many times. It ends up on the second floor and looking down, and it's incredible the choices that he made and why he would do that. And Whitey and I were talking off air about it, Crugsy, and it's like he was playing the long game with us, because in 1980 there was no interwebs, there was very little VHS. You weren't watching these films 30, 40, 50 times to be able to pick up on all these changes. So the subtlety of what he's placed and the choices he's made in painting a lot of this mise en scène has been quite incredible. Yeah, it's French. It's like beret.
I also understand that what he was doing, there's these little things, right? When you look at the pattern and the route that Danny follows when he's on the big wheel, the left turn, the right turn, the left turn, the left turn, the right turn, he follows that same pattern of turns when he's in the maze in the final act.
Yes.
Oh, no way.
Yes.
So
Get the
even
fuck
down
out.
to that level of detail, Kubrick's got this rhythm that pulses through the film in the way that space is used by the cast. And that attention to detail, that's not by chance.
Yeah.
No.
That's mapped out.
Yeah.
And I just love all of that. It's like the film's like an enigma. It just keeps revealing layers to you.
Yeah. Okay, G-Man, what do you got for good?
Stuart Allman's hair. Did we talk about it earlier? It's great.
Who's the manager or the boss?
The manager.
Yeah.
He's the boss.
The boss guy. His hair is awesome. Beautiful.
It's got some real
luscious.
puff on.
Whiffy.
Whiffy. Nesty.
It's great.
He looks like he could have been in the Rockford Files the week before.
Yes.
As a
100%.
guest star.
What was the
Yeah.
theme song to that? Do you remember?
God. That is a tough one. What's his name?
James Garner.
James Rockford was played by
Garner.
James
James
Garner.
Garner. Jim
Yeah.
Rockford, James Garner.
James Garner. Yeah.
Nice.
Look,
Handsome man.
He was a handsome man.
apart from that, I loved the deep instrumental music in the opening when they're driving up the road. That just, it's a beautiful, nice scenic highway. Reminds me of the Okanagan Morgues.
Stop.
Up on Coquihalla
Stop.
Expressway. Back when just two bad boys from the
Stop.
northern beaches were out.
That's it. I remember.
Just, having to flee the country and go overseas.
That's it.
Yeah. On the lamb.
On the lamb.
On the lamb.
But look, that to me, because it's so nice, and it's this scenic, start to the movie with that aerial view, and then that music is already, it's just like you said, he's already got the tone there that it's starting to creep into you. Like there's a sense of foreboding coming along.
As Croak said, that the Overlook's a character, the music's a character.
Yeah.
The music is the number one setting of all the tension of this film.
Yeah.
I watched this with my... This could be in bad, but I watched this with my 9-year-old daughter just this week.
That is bad.
It's bad. It's not quite ugly, but it's bad. And I said, okay, well, you won't understand it, but we're going to watch it. She said, because in mine I've got the soundtrack. Sorry, Gab, but it's pointing here that Belle said that she didn't like the music. It was the music that got to her.
Yeah,
the rest of the movie, she was fine. It was the music, and I went, wow. And that's where it's like it's done it. She's also said, "That's in
Wait,
there bad."
This is my bad. This is my bad. This is my bad.
Okay. You boys are going to appreciate it, but it's the music's a character,
Yes.
and it sets all the tension of the film.
Yep.
It's incredible.
There's a review that says that Kubrick with The Shining has made a movie that hurts people.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's exactly what he's done. And he doesn't care if he hurts you. And he does it with the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And I love that shot, that aerial shot, right? And it then sticks to the idea of the steady cam shots through the hotel, that there's this thing following.
Yes.
That once you enter this world, there's this thing that's kind of following you. So you don't know if it's the POV of some kind of force.
Yeah.
But he establishes that right in the opening. And there's even a little sort of Indian chanting going on in that opening track. Subtle. But there's these little hints. Right from the opening credits, he's foreshadowing.
Absolutely.
Genius.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anything else, G?
No, that was it.
Okay. Dan, what do you got up there on the land for good?
For good, we touched on it earlier, but Danny Lloyd, I think as a child actor, he was incredible. And
big for him.
I really want to throw this to Cruxy. Cruxy, if you've listened to any previous episodes, I fucking hate Australian child actors. I think they are absolutely the worst in the world. There's a couple of minor exceptions, but as a performer yourself, have you encountered Aussie child actors that have gone on to bigger and better things, or were they just fucking terrible in your productions as well?
Look, let me just tell you that working as a professional actor is an art form. And you've got to make choices. Part of the challenge for a child actor is there's not a lot of life there from which to draw the power of choice making.
Yes.
Now, of course, when you're talking with an actor of my ilk, I've got a long history of choices. If we've got time, I'd like to talk more about it.
It's a whole other podcast, I think.
Maybe
It's a whole other podcast.
Can I just ask you, who's the worst, best child actor in Australian film television history?
Well, we've talked a lot about, I mean, not Australians, but the kid that plays a young Frank Dukes in
he's the worst of all
Bloodsport
time.
is our favourite worst child actor of all time. So if you haven't seen that recently, do check it out. But I mean, the guy that played fucking Pugwall, he was a dick.
Nobody tells me what to do. No, not me.
All of the child actors in Secret Valley, they were fucking shit.
Secret Valley, geez.
Yeah. I mean, this is afternoon after school, ABC TV, what we were forced to watch. Yeah, they were crap.
What about that kid in Skippy? What was his name?
Sonny Hammond.
There we go.
Yeah.
He was fantastic.
Sonny wasn't too bad. And I did look, there are a few exceptions to the rule, but overall.
Hang on a minute.
What about the kids in The Lost Islands?
Oh, that was such a scary show.
Great
The
show.
Lost Islands.
That was so scary.
What about but hang on a minute. You're comparing a guy that act against a kangaroo.
Yeah.
And you go, he's not bad. Yeah, because the kangaroo's shit.
He had Tony Bonner there. Jerry flying the...
Ed Devereaux.
Was that the
That
dad?
was dad.
He was the dad.
And he was
Mr.
also
Hammond.
Solo
Hammond.
1.
Coxie! I talk about Solo 1 all the time, and these guys go, bullshit, you made that up. It's
let's
a
do the
thing.
theme song.
Paul Cronin, Solo 1.
Yes, Paul
Solo
Cronin.
1. Solo 1. Something is something. The lick out's on your bikes, and it's just solo one.
Fucking hell.
Thank you, Crazy.
Okay, Dan, you got any more good?
No, that's it. Danny Lloyd, I thought was excellent.
Okay, Damien.
Well, you know me, and I'm cautious.
And you're Michael Caine by the sound of it.
As you won't believe.
Did you know?
And
You know me.
I'll start talking loudly.
So the music, of course.
Yes.
Right. So just to use to illuminate a presence unseen. So
You're going to crap on about motifs. I'm going to tune out for a while.
No, there's no motifs in this one, but the growing invisible corrupting influence of the Overlook Hotel. You kept saying it's another character. So, but they use that Mickey Mousing technique. So an action is followed by a bit of music. So if he touches the table, there's a little bing. He does his little flip outs in the hall. There's little music to coincide with his actions. And all these little, like we pulled a page out of the typewriter, all these little things, they're just these little traces of that unseen corrupting force. They're everywhere. So manipulating the scene from above like a malevolent puppet master, twisting Jack to its own instrument of havoc. So you can't see the strings being pulled, but geez, you can hear them. So that's why I just think that music, and it's that all those pieces of music. There's the Bartok, the Penderecki, and Herbert Berlioz's music, and they're all symphonies, and they've just cut bits and pieces out of all of them, and it's all
Just
pre-existing work.
The underlying groaning, like it's just, it's just so it's frightening. It really is.
Well, I tried to listen to Hector Berlioz's Symphony Fantastique, and it's about 5 parts that are about 20 minutes long. And that opening scene where you just hear that real heavy bass, scary music, it's about 3 minutes into the final act, and it only goes for a little bit. So they have just cherry-picked bits of music.
Yeah.
A classic music, and incredible music. Like their screeching sounds like an animal screaming. Like it's scary. They've picked all these scary bits and they've actually put them into each scene.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's really amazingly done. So yeah, that's for me is the music.
Yeah, I think Croak's touched on it. The opening shot, the tracking shot, the helicopter shot is phenomenal. The closing day tracking shot where they're coming down on the Yellow Beetle with the family in it, incredible. Obviously spoke about the soundtrack. The big wheels. Danny's big wheels.
Yeah, how cool were
Fucking
they?
hell. Tell me, for 5 months, you would have been fanging around that joint.
Shit, yeah.
That is a kid's fucking dream
I'd
world.
have a bit more drift in the back wheels, I reckon. Hitting around those
Mate,
He
corners.
didn't get a lot of drift going, did he?
Yeah, no, not much drift at all.
When we were kids, we all wanted the green machine.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
we weren't able to afford a green machine. I remember as a kid, thinking, that would be the dream.
Yeah, I know. They were good.
They were great.
We all had a friend that had one. I'm going over to ride it.
Yeah, that's right. As a music connection, we're recording this on what would have been the 83rd birthday of John Lennon, right?
Yes, yeah.
And we all know where the title came from, right? The Shining.
No.
Okay, so here's where the title came
yes, it
from.
did. Yeah.
Stephen King was inspired by John Lennon's first solo single outing after the Beatles, which was Instant Karma, We All Shine On.
And we all
shine on. Yeah.
So he liked this idea of, what we all shine. What does that mean? And then so Lennon became the inspiration.
Still no one knows.
I never knew this. This is a listen to this.
So the Shining.
Gal would have had that.
Yeah.
John Lennon.
Did you know that girl? Steph?
Oh, well, sorry. Hey, first time. Sorry, guys.
Great to have you on, mate.
Yeah. Well, it's been fun. Good night.
Okay, my last one is the reveal, the all work and no play.
No.
That is
It is.
legitimately scary.
Because that was that shot you were talking about where the camera is behind the typewriter looking at Shelley Duvall's face.
And watch carefully. The typewriter changes colour twice.
Does, it goes from
It goes
cream to
yellow,
grey.
cream to grey.
Cream to
and
grey.
it's deliberate. If you look at the styles of writing, there's a screenplay format. There's almost like a standard story format.
So that has a different.
So he's writing in different formats.
Couple of typos too.
One's a screenplay. One's an editorial.
Right.
So there's all these little, which adds another layer to the madness.
Yeah.
What a scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Bad. Damo, we'll start with you.
Bad. Well, Jack actually did no work, and he played a lot with his ball, and he slept and brooded. I don't think his little story that he wrote was accurate at all.
Well, it's pretty
He
dull.
did jack shit.
All he did was play.
Yeah.
It's kind of it reminds me of our life living in Williams Lake there from
It was a lot
Monday
like
to
that.
Friday, really. Back on our travels. Yeah, we lived at the rugby club. There wasn't a lot to do. There was a lot of chucking a ball at the wall and letting the dog chase it around. You could only wank so many times. Like
You
it
have
was
to
a
off
it
down
was
to
a long
A&W
week.
for a burger
Look,
or
and-
Wendy's.
But look, and I suppose too, like, and from when I first saw it, is a slow movie.
Yeah, it's slow.
Like, it's slow. It's disturbing, right? It's weird.
Yeah.
There's a
It's
lot
all
of
those things.
So it, and I think this is why obviously a lot of people. I think there's a lot of love for this movie, but I reckon there's probably still a lot of people because when this came out in 1980, it got 2 Razzies, Kubrick and Shelley Duvall. And it was like, what the hell? Like, but they didn't get it because it was so different to all the slasher fests of the 70s and everything. The other thing too, you just flash back in the day, the no seatbelt driving. Danny's standing there.
Yeah.
They're driving up this windy mountain road.
Yeah.
He's standing at the front
back,
seat.
yeah.
In the back. You go, holy crap.
I was
It's
watching
just-
that and I was thinking, yeah, you've got your seatbelt on, Jack. And the kid's standing in the back.
Yeah, I know. But Jack, too, and I didn't go on about it before, but you were talking about how did the hotel corrupt Jack, or was he already a dick to start, whatever. I mean, but Jack, his treatment of Shelley Duvall, I mean, that obviously the bit when you hear me typing, you know, and I just could not stand him in that scene.
If you hear me typing or whatever the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah. I
Very
just-
good.
And she was like, hey, just chill, you know, calm down. And the way he spoke to her, I was like, you absolute prick. God, he was a dick there. So he was just a bad tool right there then. But yeah, that's it for bad for me.
Okay, Croaksy, what do you got?
It started bad, it became interesting. If you look at the scene where he comes back from the room and tells Wendy, I saw nothing, and she talks about we should leave. And he goes from being sort of caring. It's the most care he shows for her when he's sitting by her side on that bed. And then he quickly turns and he
Yes.
starts the descent into madness when she suggests we should just leave. And he's
yeah.
like, you want to leave?
Yeah.
When he storms out of that room and he verbally abuses her, and I remember bumping into it on repeat viewings, but as he leaves the room, he eyeballs the camera. He breaks the fourth wall.
A few times.
But
Glances.
he starts in that scene.
Right.
So now I start to think, well, it's Nicholson, it's Kubrick. These guys aren't doing that by accident.
No.
But he breaks the fourth wall. I remember watching it a few times thinking, that's what's going on. What do you... Because we see that repeatedly then.
Yes.
We see it
Just
in
little
the
glances,
pantry,
yeah.
little glances. Then the more I got into it, I realised, that looks like it's a choice. Maybe it's gone from bad to good. At first I thought it was a little sloppy, and maybe something to do with the editing or whatever it might be. But I think there's some meaning in the fact that he's looking at you. He's looking at the viewer. He's sharing the insanity. So I don't know what that is as theories going around, but
that is interesting.
I had a hard time with it. What's going on there? But I actually think it's an interesting choice that he's making. Having made interesting choices as a professional actor,
Of course.
As an LBA specialist.
Dan, what do you got for bad?
Pubes.
Were there pubes in this show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
Girl
time.
in the shower.
Big time.
70s,
Oh,
Okay, so
right.
Dan is now passing this over to me because I watched this with my 9-year-old daughter. Father of the year, my wife is away. So we made a choice, a bit like looking back. And we decided we watched The Shining. I thought, I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. I can do my research and
Rob her of her innocence.
yeah, right, exactly right. And I warned her. I said you're not going to understand it. But anyway, we progressed and we watched it. And here we go. Jack's going into room 237. I'm thinking, shit, should I fast forward this? I thought, fuck, I'm in for a penny, in for a pound. Just roll the dice. So as he gets closer, he goes, oh, what a room too! Like an amazing room, like 2 levels, like split level room, and as he goes up and you can see the silhouette behind, and Isabel is sitting next to him, and she goes, and she's got the pillow up on her face because the music is like,
It's scary.
it's
as all
scary
hell
as
there,
all
yeah.
hell, right? So she goes, is there someone in the bath, Dad? And I go, oh, you'll have to wait and see. And she goes, is there a nude lady in the bath? And I go, because she's probably, girls have seen it at school, so she sort of knows there's something going on in the bath. So I'm like, oh, you'll have to wait and see. So she pulls the screen back, stands up and sits there and she's like, oh, I don't want to see naked women. And then she stands up and Isabel goes, oh, Dad, I don't want to see a vagina. And I'm like, and so I'm going, okay, bad parenting decision here. And she goes, and anyway, and there's quite a bit of time elapses. It's like 40 seconds
it's
that she's
slow.
walking towards him. So there's plenty of time to see what's going on there. It's a mess. It's a mess.
I thought it was kind of tidy.
Well, you might. It's a mess.
It was all right.
And she goes, Dad, it looks like a beard.
It is.
And I was like, well, we've crossed the line. And
Back then, darling, they all did.
And I was like, well, it was a choice.
Can I tell you, if you go back and have a look at the scene in the bathroom where Danny's meeting Tony in the mirror, talking with Tony in the mirror in the opening act, have another look at that film when the camera moves in. There's a silhouette behind the shower curtain sitting in the bathtub
Bullshit.
of the
When
Torrance room.
Are you serious?
Have a look. There's what I'm not suggesting there's a link, but I am suggesting it's foreshadowing.
Right. Okay.
But there's a little bit of a silhouette sitting behind the shower curtain in that opening scene before they even get to the Overlook.
Right.
Just have a little.
I love the way that she did pull that curtain back, though. The way her arm just slowly just grabbed
Seductive.
it, just pulled it back. It was spooky.
When she walked out and you saw everything and the vagina and the breast, I thought, oh, she's going to reveal how the luggage got up on the Volkswagen. Maybe that's what's. Maybe what's that? Is that what's
just
coming?
drop out some cases. Yeah.
Huge vagina.
I don't think she did too many other movies.
She didn't do. That was her only movie.
Was it her
Same
only
as the
movie?
Old Bird, only movie.
They didn't want to do one before or after. Yeah.
I'll tell you
Both of
what,
them,
though.
which is really odd.
I got to say, a lot of change down the nether region between the young and the old.
Ugh.
She certainly
The old one was
certainly
just
lost all her hair.
Yeah, jeez, yeah.
Anyway, who are we doing bad? Damo, you done?
Have I done bad? Yeah, I've done bad.
You just did bad. Croxy, you did it?
Yep.
G-Man.
Look, we've been through most of mine here. We had the huge pile of luggage for the VW. Wendy smoking at the table in the first scene.
Yes, I've got that.
Dari.
With Danny while Danny eats breakfast.
Got it.
Yeah.
It's just the smoke's just curdling away.
Yeah, it's fucked.
While he's
Passive.
eating.
Bit of passive with your breakfast.
Fucked.
And I was like, what is going on there? Sign of the times.
She's breaking so many rules
Hey,
there.
she was smoking in the hotel, just cruising around,
Yeah.
just ashing
No,
all over the joint.
I get that, but he
Well,
was
she had to
sitting there
clean
eating
it.
at breakfast,
Yeah.
and she just had this cigarette in the holder next
But
to him.
did you
and
see
it's
the
just
ashtray? The
Yeah.
ashtray was
full.
full of
Yeah.
durries that just sitting there on your
Yeah.
coffee
hard
table.
life.
The other one we had was, we've been through it. Why didn't he tell her about room 237? But I'm sure we'll dissect that a little later.
Yeah.
The other one I had was when Halloran came back, when the old Scatman came
Scatman.
back, how did he get a snowcat?
He hired it.
He hired it from Tony
He
Burton.
called
Oh,
his
did
mate.
he?
He called
He
his
hired
mate.
it from Tony
Told his
Burton. He
mate,
rang ahead.
I need to get up there. Yep.
The bigger question with that is, and I can't remember where I was going, so let's just move on.
Scatman.
Dan, you got anything for bad, mate?
I did bad. I was
Oh, you did bad. Sorry, I'm off the reservation.
Yeah,
Me.
pubes,
Okay,
pubes.
pubes.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. So, my bad. Does the acting seem a little off?
I thought the scene with Turkle the barman, I thought Jack's acting there was crazy.
Lloyd.
Sorry, Lloyd.
Joe Turkle.
Joe
is
Turkle,
the guy
sorry.
that plays him.
Yeah, Lloyd. I
Yeah.
just thought it came across to me as really odd. Like, I know he's sort of going into the depths of losing it, but
Yeah.
it just seemed very contrived the way he was talking. I didn't, just to me, it hit me wrong. Didn't really
I know
like that.
the conversations were he was just using.
He was just a bit off. He was a bit off kilter.
Yeah.
I know it was your typical bar small talk though. Like you can't
Well,
live
I
with
don't
him.
know, Lloyd.
Yeah, you can't live with him. You can't live without him. And I need to know who's buying my drinks. Like it was your typical bar conversation. And I don't know, maybe it was just a real cliched convo that you'd have as small talk
No, it
with
was.
the barman.
I liked the scene. I think the scene was really good because it shows his descent. And even the scene, Morgan said it before with the correct them. That was a really, really good scene.
Yeah.
Because that's just started to hit where he's just lost it completely. But I just found that first one when he's in the bar, it was just a bit off to me. Like what I said, a bit off kilter.
Yeah.
I wrestled for the longest time with Bill Watson. He was played by a character actor called Barry Denon. Bill Watson's in the opening scenes at the interview.
Yes.
And he's snarky.
Yes.
If you have a look at him, he's got. I think there's a scene where Ullman asks, "Could you go and do this and help?"
the family.
Yeah, he's like,
yep.
"Sure."
Yeah.
But there's this attitude there right from the start. And I had to do a little bit of research because I thought, why is this guy playing this? Because I bumped into that. I thought, what an interesting choice. He's such a snarky. What's this about? I did a little bit of research, and because I made the point here, he's oddly emotionalist, angry right from the outset. Until I understood he's the caretaker handing over for the winter shutdown.
Yes.
And that his family, according to the novel, come from the founding fathers of the hotel.
Right.
And then when they went through tough times, the hotel changed hands and his family were relegated to caretaker duties.
Right.
They were no longer in the money, so to speak. So he's like a third, fourth generation family member. So I wondered if there's some kind of thing going on with him where he's well aware of what's to come and maybe what's ahead.
He knows he's the luckiest guy on the planet. He should be fucking happy.
But yeah, why be snarky?
I don't know, but when you watch Barry Dennen, it's an interesting character, and he's the same right through all his scenes. He actually went on to become a voice actor in the Star Wars Clone Wars animated series. I found out, which I thought was kind of interesting. Yeah. But you have a look at Bill Watson. There's something going on there.
Yeah.
Have a look at Ullman, if I could just mention this to you. There's a scene where Ullman is out front of the room that the Torrances are going to be staying in. And he gestures to Danny. He asks how he's doing, and he does a little thing with his finger. He does like a Tony thing with his finger.
Oh.
It's odd. It's small, but he gestures the talking finger.
So he might have a bit of shiny in him,
He may do, because there's a deleted scene from the end of the film that never made final cut where Ullman goes back to a hospital and visits Danny and Wendy in hospital to check on them and says, when you recover, you should come back and stay with me and get yourself together again. And he also says, we found nothing there.
No body.
No bodies. Yeah. And then in the end of the deleted scene for the finale, he throws Danny the ball, the same ball that rolls down the hallway.
Fuck off.
And says, there you go, kid. Then exits. You can read the screenplay piece. Yeah. So Ullman originally was much more than what Ullman seems to be. So when you go back and look at the film, that's in the final film, the gesture with the finger to Danny. Yeah. So there's something going on there.
I got to say, it's interesting because the movie looks like it's been hacked. He's been hacked to bits. Like that he's had to make a heap of creative choices to appease someone, which is odd because Kubrick was an island. He got to do whatever he wants, but it does feel like there's, as I said, it poses a lot more questions than answers them, but it does feel like it's a little hacked.
But Kubrick was the one that told everyone to go and cut that last part of the movie out.
Yeah,
it was released and it was about a week or two into it.
You can see stills.
And then they said, get rid of it. I want you. And every projectionist had to actually cut.
Yes. Well, here's one for
the
you.
End of.
It was done so last minute. Unlike Kubrick, or maybe pure Kubrick, the actors that appeared in that scene as the hospital staff are in the end credits. They're still in the end credits.
Right.
But the scene isn't there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So odd.
There we go. Okay, now, rule one. Eddie Murphy did a bit where if a black family walked into a haunted house and they said, get out, they just turn around and get the fuck out.
Oh,
right?
baby, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
We got a chandelier.
Yeah.
Lads hanging
Get
down.
out.
Too bad we can't stand it.
That's it. Now, rule one. No Indian burial grounds. They mention Indian burial grounds. I'm like, thanks, Mr. Ullman, but I'm in my yellow VW Beetle. I'm out of here. Sorry.
It's built on it. Who would say that as like some sort of selling point?
Yeah, that's not the selling point. That's shut up.
That became a trope, though. I think Poltergeist
did the same thing.
They were.
It became a trope.
It was a cemetery. It was they moved the cemetery.
They did. They moved the cemetery.
Moved the cemetery,
Right,
but,
there we
but
go.
they didn't actually.
They didn't move the bodies.
They didn't
there
move the
we go.
bodies.
That's what it
They
was.
moved the headstones.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Ugly. Anyone got anything for ugly?
I do, but I think we'll cover it in later on, and it's something Croaks will probably mention too, is the sexual abuse.
Let's cover that in
Evidence.
film school for F-wits.
Yeah.
G-Man?
Look, my ugly was going to be, and we sort of touched on it earlier, was Stanley Kubrick himself and the demands he placed on everybody throughout this.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that Shelley Duvall had nervous exhaustion. He wouldn't talk to her on set. He made everyone not feel sorry for her, like she went.
It was kind of he went method on her.
Yeah.
He went method on everyone. Scatman Crothers was filming this, and he had to do over 100 takes for one scene. Yeah. And his next movie was one with Clint Eastwood, Bronco Billy, and Clint Eastwood's famous for only doing one take, right? So he actually cried after that, going, "Thank God I only have to do one take of this thing because this other guy made me do so much." And Slim Pickens was supposed to be cast in the role of
What in the wild world of sports is this shit?
but he was going to be cast in that role as Scatman Crothers' role.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't do it because he's like, no, because he'd worked
Not with Kubrick.
He'd worked with Kubrick before, and he's like, no, not doing
Dr.
that.
Strangelove did Dr. Strangelove.
Dr. Strangelove, that was it. Angelica Houston lived with Jack Nicholson and said that he came home every night and just face down on the bed.
Yeah.
You know, he was just done. And apparently the script changed so much that every day Jack Nicholson reportedly said, I just stopped reading it because I'd only read the changes because it just changed all the time. The scene where the ball rolls up to Danny, 50 takes.
Yeah. You're really rolling in to listen to this, aren't you?
Yeah.
This is the whole thing. Yeah, I know. It's Kubrick. He was a absolute overlord, tyrant.
Saul Bass, who's the brother of Seabass.
Yeah.
The graphic from
meet him at
Kicky's ass. Yeah.
Kicky's ass, Seabass.
Meet him at 2:30.
Closely related to the singing bass, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he had to do over 300 edits of the poster.
Yeah.
Just for the movie, and that's what we were saying earlier on. Like, this is how into it that Kubrick was at doing everything. So the demands on the cast, during production and after production would have been crazy.
Apparently, Kubrick had Jack on a diet of cheese sandwiches.
That's why he was grumpy.
Yeah, it's just cheese sandwiches for him.
Yeah.
Designed just to mess with him. The Scatman Crothers 100+ takes. You know what scene that was? That's the bed scene with the poster above the bed. And
when he's
shining.
shining. When he's shining.
You would think that's the least amount that he's got
He
to
doesn't
do.
need to fucking do anything.
That was the scene, 100+ takes that almost broke Scatman.
The one that got me was the
He
ball.
was
like,
lying
the ball rolling
down.
up to Danny.
He's on his back.
Yeah, the ball rolling up to Danny. 50 takes for the ball just to roll up to him, and then him to get up and go, "Oh, where did this ball come from?" That's it.
Well, let me tell you this.
takes.
I've had some experience in this field. During the making of the feature film for television, Chappelle, that look back, one take. What I've just given you there is a callback related to my look back earlier in the show.
Yeah, nice. I
Thank
love
you.
that.
You could be
Well done, Craig.
Bronco Billy with Clint Eastwood.
I did read, though, that the scene for Scatman Crothers, the reason it took 100 takes is because he got an erection in 75 of those takes, looking at the photo on the wall.
pictures, yep.
So he had to go wide angle, and he really wanted to hone in, but
He's like, I can't help it, Stan.
can't help it. Can't hold it. Okay, anyone else for ugly? No? Real good? Okay, let's move on. Dan's quickfire.
Yes, let's get into this quick fire. So first up, just to explain, is the lookalike, and it doesn't have to just look like me. So anyone in the film that was a lookalike that any of you noticed and thought that man or woman looks like, insert name here.
I got a
It doesn't
couple.
have to be me.
I
Go.
got a couple. Ullman is you in a heartbeat.
The hair.
Good hair.
Ullman's hair
Good
is
hair,
you.
Good hair.
If you were that age in 80, you are Ullman.
Yeah.
You would have been the manager of the Overlook. You would have been the shittest hair like he did.
I'll take that.
And one more,
If he nodded a bit more, he'd be so morged.
Scatman's calves. Scatman's
Yeah.
calves. He's got your calves.
We are both calf deficient. Yes, all right. It's going to be difficult to.
I got an
break
almost
out of
look-alike.
that.
I got an almost look-alike for you, Morgs. The role of Lloyd the bartender was originally to be played by Harry Dean Stanton.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Mate, he looks a bit like Harry Dean. He's got the
Yeah.
same sort of chiseled face. I'm feeling that.
2 years later, that guy played Mr. Tyrell in Blade Runner.
That's right. He did too.
There you go.
Yeah, he did.
He looks a bit like Bishop from Aliens.
He does look a little bit like Bishop.
Yeah, he
well,
does.
Waylon Yutani. There you go.
Hello, Bishop.
I've got a couple too. So Danny, couple he looks like the son of Jim Carrey in Liar Liar. That's
He does a bit,
yeah.
actually. He does a bit.
and
That
he also
cutesy
looks
kid
like
had the same hair for sure.
Andy, Family Ties, Brian Bonsall.
Brian Bonsall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
What
it.
would we do, baby?
Baby, without us.
Sha-na-na-na.
And one more, I couldn't.
Sit, you will sit.
Good dog.
Good dog.
The bearsuit guy.
Yes.
Yeah. Where's Mad Max 2?
Oh, you good. The
arse
arse
hanging
cheeks.
out.
The arse out. Yes.
Excellent.
Same.
Excellent.
Same buns. I can recognise them anywhere.
Yep.
You're the arse man.
Let off some steam, Bennett.
Driving your
Beep.
ass, man.
What a boop.
Come on, John, just stick your head out. One shot. That's all I need. Come on, John.
Come on, John.
Look
Come on,
up,
John.
Just
look
stick your head
up
out.
and across.
Throw away that chicken shit gun.
Your pissant soldiers are no match for Matrix. Barry Dennen, Barry Dennen, who played Bill Watson, looks a lot. We talked about him a moment ago. Reminds me of John Cazale.
He
John
does.
Cazale.
He
Dog
does.
Day Afternoon.
He does, yep.
Yeah.
The Godfather.
The Godfather.
What
Frodo.
yeah.
He does,
Married
Frodo.
Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Died very young.
Died young, but made a bunch of great
Oh,
films. But
quality
There's a
films.
bit of John Cazale going on there.
Yeah, I agree. I hear that.
Excellent. Croaksy, you've got the hang of this and it's your first go. It doesn't have to just look like me or be shit body parts that I have.
You watch though.
Thank
You watch though. The next time we get Croaksy on, he can have a Morgs look alike. Don't worry about that.
All right,
move
let's
on.
move on. Well done. The next one is a name change. First up, after the Karate Kid, this segment is now called Wax On, Wax Off for a scene that is passed over into popular culture. This film is littered with them.
Yeah.
Would you like to have a go at it, Whitey?
Okay, Red Rum, the twins, Here's Johnny, the elevators, the movie, The Simpsons, The Shinning. It's Ready Player One has the amazing, the best scene in the movie where they go into the cinema and it's The Shining.
Yep.
This whole movie is 100% pop culture. It is the carpet, everything about it, the whole movie.
Yeah. Agreed. I don't think we need to go any further into that.
When my 9-year-old daughter,
anymore?
the reveal of Red Rum, and she realised it said murder in the
on the winking mirror.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I think the Kubrick stare, which he's classic for, right? He started with it in Clockwork. It probably goes back a little further. But the Kubrick stare where Jack is looking out at the family while they're in the maze. And
over the top.
And he's so understated, he's so grounded, and the camera just hangs there while he's slowly descending into his madness at that point. I think that's my favourite shot in the whole film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Love it. Yeah.
Frightening.
Croaksy, not exactly on topic, but did you get a sense of Wes Anderson stealing a lot of the really centered subject in a lot of the shots in this one? I just found myself watching, and it might just be with the Steadicam because it was always directly behind someone and they were always center screen. But whilst tonally nothing alike, I was just like, is this where Wes Anderson ripped
That's a
a bit of
really
this
good
off?
point. I think you're right. I think Wes is big on the whole symmetry in the shot, isn't he? I think
Absolutely,
I think
yeah.
you're onto something there. Yeah. How could you not be influenced
different.
by him? Yeah, good stuff.
No, well, exactly. It makes a lot of sense when you think about it. But yeah, I couldn't agree with me more. Moving on. Philip Stuckey in Pretty Woman. Jason Alexander's excellent portrayal of an utter douchebag in Pretty Woman, which we've actually done on this podcast, Croaksy. It was, one of our low points. But he was a particular large douchebag. And who would take that mantle in this particular film?
Oh, well, I'd say Jack, because even pre-Overlook, Jack was a dick. I know he's, I don't normally pick the main baddie or whatever as the dick, but I'm picking him.
Okay. Anyone got anything else?
So
Ullman's a
it's
douchebag.
just sorry, just Ullman. Yeah, no, I was going to say Ullman as well. But sorry,
Why
back-
is he a douchebag,
Well,
though?
you go back and watch that scene where he talks about, he went crazy. This guy went crazy, and he hacked up his family into little pieces. And then,
interesting
he
story.
stuck a gun in his mouth and blew the back of his head off. Anyway,
That's just a funny story.
but
That
he says it almost like
so matter-of-factly.
It's so he's got a smirk.
Yeah.
The gesture to Danny with the finger. I think he's connected to the ball down the hall. I don't know if he's the overlord within the Overlook. I don't know, but I think he's creepy and dark. And if you really watch what's going on with him, the guy's a douche right from the get go.
Yeah. Yep.
I think we've all
hair.
made a decision that we're going to stick with regardless of what happens. So I think he's already on holidays and he's got this guy that's going to come and do the job for him, and is like, I have to tell him legally that there was a mass murder at this site by the previous taker of this particular role. But mate, I'm already on holidays, so just work with it. You'll be right.
There we go.
I'll tell you what, Jack takes it pretty well, doesn't he? Oh, yeah, no, my wife's going to love that. Yeah. She loves the horror story.
Yeah, she loves her. She loves true crime. Like fucking hell.
Great, yeah, she'll love it.
But also, it was not the year before. Like it was
10 years.
10 years. So has nothing ever. It's been okay for 10 years, or they just didn't have anyone doing it for 10 years. Like it's interesting.
Good question.
I got my dick is Dick.
Go.
My dick is Dick Halloran. He knew. He's shining. He should have stepped in. Him getting in, making all that trip all the way up is guilt. He should have done something at the start. He should have stepped in and
nice
said,
call.
turn around and fuck off.
Yeah.
Well, would have they believed him?
Well, at least then he wouldn't have been a dick.
Good point, because he had a chance.
He had a
to give
chance.
the kid the word.
Danny.
Right at the start.
Yeah.
He had a
Your dad's
chance.
going to snap.
But he tells him there's nothing to be scared of
Because
nothing's real.
it's like a book.
Yeah,
Picture in a book.
The picture's in a book. Nothing's real.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Does a little bit of this get lost from the book? I mean, I haven't read the book, and I don't know if anyone here has, but does a little bit of this interpretation get lost from the book?
I think so. I haven't read it for some years, but
Yeah.
Okay.
Well done. Yeah, great. Cast a Caddyshack for an actor or entire cast that tonally aren't quite sure that they're in the same film and tend to go off and freestyle. I didn't get a... This is a difficult one because... But Whitey and I, again, speaking about this offline, we were struck by Jack Nicholson's performance in this particular set of viewings as to whether it was any good or not. And obviously seeing it 39 times previously and thinking he was amazing, it was a bit of a new take for us. But I guess he was making a lot of choices, as Croaksy's pointed out, that if that weren't written on Kubrick's page, were some of them a little overacted? I don't know. I guess we can discuss this in film school as well. But I don't know that anyone was off tone. It would be difficult with such a small cast to argue that point unless one of you have a counterpoint.
My favourite moments with Jack are when he's more restrained. I think when he starts the tongue flicking thing, he gets into this thing with the tongue. He starts that on the stairwell.
Yeah.
He does another one in the lockup. And I've always thought, I don't know. The whole,
he's reaching.
Yeah, that's right. And I just think, who am I to give a note to?
Well, you know what? That's exactly what we said.
I'm the freaking guy from Chappelle.
Yeah,
can I tell you a little bit? Anyway, but my point being,
take Croaks, they call him.
There's the only times I bumped into Jack where it's the tongue thing seemed like an odd thing to go back to several times.
Yeah, but I don't think you can say this because let's say there's 20, 30, 40, 100 takes, right? He's acted differently in 50 takes.
Yeah.
So, yes, there might be some tongue flicking in 5 of them, and then there'd be none. It's just, and then Kubrick in the end picks the one that he wants out of a shitload of different takes.
I think, in saying it, I think they're all the performances are suited to the film because the film is odd.
Yes,
in general, the feeling it's an odd film. So I think that the performances suit. If it was in something else, then I'm like,
but Kubrick has cherry picked his favourite versions of
exactly
each scene,
exactly
and made the movie.
Yep,
good point.
Yeah.
There we go.
Great call. All right, moving on. Olivia Newton-John's cartwheel at the pep rally in Greece for the worst show of athletic prowess in the film. We've already talked about Shelley Duvall. We've talked about what's her fucking character's
Wendy
name?
Torrance.
Wendy Torrance. We've already talked about Wendy Torrance in the film and her running style, which is particularly poor. I don't know that anyone else really.
There's nothing else.
No, but Wendy's baseball.
Oh, mate, strike one, strike two, strike three, you're out.
A couple of swings, it wouldn't have.
She's really choking up on that bat. Like when I was batting 1,000.
I got to say though,
for the Warringah. Yeah, remember when I had that?
Yeah, I remember when you batted 1,000.
Are you talking about when you're playing t-ball?
No. It was overarm baseball when I did it.
Okay. Was that when you were batting 1,000 playing baseball, or that summer when you batted 1,000 you wanked every day?
I mean, both.
That was a good summer, Marge.
Oh, the summer of 22.
The summer of Dan. The summer of Kleenex.
Anyway, moving.
I've got one for you.
G-Man's
Sorry, I've got Jack. He's not real good in a maze.
No, he was shit in a maze.
His 6-year-old managed to backtrack, hide behind a tree, get out of the thing, and he couldn't make it around once.
Yeah.
Then he just sat
there. He's smart, that kid. You think he's not all there, and
actually,
he just aces the maze.
He did.
That's
in Jack's fairness, he should have been HIA at that stage and a 15-minute man.
He should have been in the tent
on the sidelines.
That was category 1, definitely. He was having 11 days off.
He could have done what Bart Simpson did. He just got the hedge cutters and just cut a big hole through the whole thing and just went out the side.
He could have just driven the snowcat.
Yeah.
Drag the snowcat.
Just get out the hole. Yep. Outside.
Good.
Very well.
All right. Moving along, robot sentries for an additional scene or scenes you may have wanted to have seen. A la when we find out that the Space Marines are in deep shit in Aliens because there are millions of those fuckers crawling through the hull of the town. What else did you want to know about this particular film? I mean, God, there's so many red herrings and dead ends in the film. Was there anything particular you wanted to know more about? Croaksy, what did you leave wanting to know more about?
The deleted scene, the ending.
Yeah.
I wanted to know where Ullman fit. I think there's an Ullman story there that's not complete in the final film, and I think there's an added layer of darkness and oddness there.
Yeah.
So we've never seen it. There's apparently it was shot. It's been cut, but there's never been anything out of the estate. You can find the screenplay online and read what it does. That's a whole different movie. If you put Ullman there throwing the ball to the kid, that's a whole different. That's a whole different set of theories.
It is.
Yep.
That would be. And I do think that end scene, would have been pretty cool to see. Just that for me, I'd like to see that Shelley Duvall and Danny are safe. You know, I know they drove off, but I do like a nice ending, and I would have liked to seen them, safe somewhere.
Happy ending?
Yeah,
Both of those
I would like.
Both of those are addressed in the sequel in Doctor Sleep. So I haven't, I must conclude, seen all of Doctor Sleep. Why did you recommend it to me? And I haven't got through it all as yet. But both of those questions are answered in Doctor Sleep. So we won't have any spoilers in case anyone wants to go and
Very
check
good
it out.
movie.
But yeah,
Sleep.
definitely the sequel. So good. Gal, anything else you wanted to know?
No, that's it for me.
No, I'm good.
Excellent. All right. Finally, what is Brad Pitt for the actor you'd most like to meet at the gymnasium of the Overlook Hotel to do 2-person push-ups with? It's pretty slim pickings. I mean, we're all a little bit bear curious. I know that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot
Yeah,
about the bear guy.
it's hard to go.
Okay,
it's hard
Roger
to
the bear.
It's hard to go past vagina beard, right? She's your only choice.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, if you're all in Jack's spot, you're having a crack.
Oh, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
Even after you see the reflection, you'd figure, well,
Oh, after a post reflection, no chance.
I just kept my eyes closed. Yeah, just keep my eyes closed.
yeah,
Excellent.
Girl in the bath.
Great work, gentlemen. That was not so quick fire.
Let's move on to listen to this. G-Man, you've given us about 19 already. What else you got?
I've kind of
You've done all your good
I've
ones,
blown
right?
my load there. Yeah. So look, the snowy maze that we talked about, there wasn't that much snow there. That consisted of 900 tons of salt and crushed styrofoam.
That's a lot.
Wow.
It's a big
900
maze.
tons,
Big
man.
maze. Yeah.
It's incredible because it seriously looks like the middle of winter, right?
It looks like
It's
snow.
so well
Yeah.
done.
It's funny because when they see it shot at the start where you can't see the maze. I don't know if it's supposed to be at the back, but I thought it was out the front there. But when they show the overhead shot of the Overlook, it's not there.
there's no
The whole
maze.
maze is not
Yeah.
there. Which is funny. The other one was look. The first choice to play Danny was Carrie Guffey, who was the boy out of Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah, the young kid, yeah. But the parents turned it down due to the nature of the movie.
We're gonna pass on this. Duh.
Yeah. Yes. But I think Danny nails that. So, I've done everything else.
okay.
So.
Croaks, you got anything?
I just want to go back to the snow, and this is for Croaksy and Damo, our two thespians. Any interesting stories where the set or props have malfunctioned during a scene where they've had to reshoot either at the diner on Home and Away, Damo, or on the set of the beloved telemovie Chappelle, Croaksy?
Well, there's plenty of snow in the Chappelle movie.
Yeah, there we are. Yeah, look, I don't know. I noticed that if you're talking about this film particularly, the scene where Wendy approaches Jack at the typewriter and they have that little bit of interaction and then they cut back immediately to Wendy's point of view and the chair in the back of the scene against the wall has disappeared.
Yeah.
And there people will say, well, it's a continuity error. Props are moved and things have lost. But then you go, well, it's Kubrick.
Attention to detail is his thing.
Attention to detail. Every scene is a story. So then you start to wonder, well, is that prop missing because has the typewriter changed? And maybe that's where the film takes on a life of its own because we put so much faith and elevation into Kubrick that you start to believe the man couldn't have made a misstep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in actual fact.
Whereas in actual fact,
He
which
fucked up.
which adds to the charm of great art.
Yeah,
you know.
He's immune. He's immune from any sort of...
Yeah.
Do you think that the typewriter changed colour or it was just lit differently? I don't know that it was a different colour. I feel like they set up another shot and it hasn't been colour graded and it was just lit completely differently. I don't know
think if
that
you
they
have a look at it, they're two different models.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they are
well,
two
there you go.
different.
Yeah.
I will shut the fuck up then.
So have a look. It's worth going back and taking a look.
Vince, shut the fuck up.
Okay, I'll go. The blood from the elevator. So he's obviously known for doing 100 takes of Scatman Crothers' erection, but with the elevator was 3 takes. Now, took 9 days to set up, though, for each take. Took 1 year to get that shot right.
Whoa.
That's fucking incredible.
Isn't it?
That's how important that shot was to that movie. That's iconic. That one shot.
In The Simpsons, when the blood comes out of the elevator, I think Smithers says, "That's odd. The blood normally gets off at the second floor." It's just stupid.
It's so silly.
That's brilliant.
So good.
But what a great scene.
Oh, God.
You know, one for the ages.
Yeah, absolutely.
The whole movie was supposed to take 17 weeks, and it ended up taking something like nearly a year, nearly 52 weeks for them to get that.
It's full on.
Well, I would say that you guys might have it, but the staircase scene did 127 shots, and it's in the Guinness Book of Records.
Wow.
So it's just about his perfectionism, and like I said, he could have done it 127 different ways.
Shelley said he was the cruelest, kindest man she ever worked with.
Right.
And you can see that he broke her on that stairwell scene.
Yeah.
But her performance is ageless. It's a stellar performance. And his whole thing was, we'll keep doing takes until you break because I need you to break.
Right.
I don't want you to act.
Yeah.
Right.
I want truth.
Yeah.
And if getting truth means you have to break, we'll get that for the camera because pain is temporary and film is forever.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. So, but and I mentioned it before too that all the laying of the music tracks was undertaken after the final cut. So there was the final cut, and Gordon Stainforth had pieces of music that he had to sort of manipulate. He didn't want to change any melodies or change anything or bastardize it, but he had to line them all up with each scene, with each shot. And I've seen sort of pictures of his mapping it out, and it's quite incredible. But there's two other girls that did play on the main theme, and they did a lot of scoring for a lot of scenes. So this is Wendy Carlos and Rachel Elkind, and they did a whole heap of scoring. So they played the main theme, but from the Hector Berlioz Symphony Fantastique. They did that, they played it, but then they did all these other scores for all these different scenes. And they worked with him on A Clockwork Orange, and they did all this work, lots of work, pushed work for nothing that was shown in Clockwork Orange. So they had a similar bad experience. And the same thing happened here. The Kubrick sort of pushed them, and they did all this work, and none of it, apart from just replaying Hector Berlioz's theme, was played. So they vowed never to work with Kubrick ever again. Mate, they busted their ass. Yeah. And they tried to then, sue him or take him to court, but they actually didn't have any sort of official contract in place, so they had nothing. But it was like, my God. So I think Stanley... Yeah, he probably just, I don't know, do a lot of people come back and do work with him again?
Well, no, we
Not
said
many.
before to me, Slim Pickens, there's a few people I think that have said no. That'll do me, working on set with him. Would be tough.
Yeah, definitely. Anyone got anything else? Let's move on. We'll get into quotables. There's not a heap.
There's the four you've already mentioned, really, isn't there?
Yeah, well, there's
a couple more.
Obviously, Here's Johnny, which is probably...
Red Rum.
Could Here's Johnny almost be the most iconic quote in cinema history?
And it's an improv.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, but-
and Kubrick didn't even know what it meant.
No.
Yeah, because
So
he was English.
He wanted to cut it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was a Johnny Carson reference?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
But everyone would know if you said, where's Here's Johnny from? 95% would probably say The Shining and not Johnny Carson.
There you go.
I don't know.
That's
What do you
right.
think?
Yeah.
Well, that's because passing over. The little pigs rhyme when he's cracking down the door. That was good.
Yeah.
When he's just fully losing it.
Yeah.
But I wrote down a couple.
Go for it.
Sort of when he said, "Hi, Lloyd." He glances around the empty bar. A little slow tonight, isn't it? Just like
Yeah, he's good.
weird conversations.
Yeah.
But also this is not a quote, but when Grady spilt that drink,
Yeah.
right, and then Jack was,
Advocate.
yeah, that thing, yeah, and then Jack was like, "Oh, you may have got a little bit on you as well," and he slapped him on the back.
And there's all
And he
the
put
yellow
the
on
shit
it.
all on
Yeah.
his back.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what was that about?
Can I just say, while you're in that space, it's the worst drink spill.
A fake
Oh,
drink spill.
bad.
He
And
steps right and steps left.
Yeah, and I've tried to watch it and think, is it because he needs him to be covered in this? I try to excuse it.
Yeah.
But over time I watch it, oh man, that is the worst looking.
That could have been in our bad sporting prowess.
Maybe,
That
maybe.
drink
Yeah.
spill, that drink
Because
spill.
all he goes one way and then the
But
other.
he does. He
Yes.
does need to get him into the bathroom to have that
So
conversation.
that's why I wonder, is even that deliberate? Look
Yeah, I
how
think that's
look how we
deliberate.
forgive Kubrick.
I think that's.
Yes,
I think
he's
that's
immunity.
deliberate.
Yes,
He's
he's immunity. Kubrick immunity.
Yeah.
That's the new thing,
I
isn't
love
it?
it. I love it.
Okay, anyone get anything?
I love the line. The first time I got creeped out watching that film was when Danny says to his mother, through Tony, Danny isn't here, Mrs. Torrance.
Yeah.
I remember watching that as a young guy, and that was the first time I thought, oh my, what a creepy line, where he's saying, I'm not here.
This kid's taken up. Tony's taken over.
Tony's here. And you know, depending on where you sit, Tony's the fractured personality of Danny. But just that line, he's not here anymore.
Yeah.
Whoa, what?
God,
What?
So creepy.
It's funny. It's the first. It's amazing the first that I have when I watch these movies, but it's the first time I've realised about he's the man in Danny's mouth. That's the first time I've really taken notice of that line. He's the man in Danny's mouth. I'm like, that's fucking creepy.
Yes.
Super creepy.
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
Dan, you got anything?
Oh, we touched on it earlier, but Delbert Grady in the bathroom scene, just my girls, they didn't care for the Overlook at first. One of them actually stole a box of matches and tried to burn it down, but I corrected them.
Yes.
And when my wife tried to prevent me from doing my duty, I corrected her. Fuck.
Very good.
He's a
Obviously,
good creep, isn't he?
Yeah.
Real
Yeah.
good creep.
Well, he
Super
changed so quickly,
Yeah.
didn't he? He was
Yes.
like, "Oh, sorry, sir," and let's come and clean you up, and then he's just having a conversation. Then he turned into that.
Well, I think he only turns when Jack
He
realizes who he is.
Who he is? Yeah, hang
Yes,
on.
hey.
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Well, he tries to deny it for a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And then he just leans
Yeah,
right into
I know
it.
you. Yeah.
What do you think the choice was for so many English accents appearing in the movie that's set in a Colorado
Colorado, there you
hotel
go.
in the 1920s? Why?
question.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Convenience where they were.
There's got to be some Kubrick immunity there.
Yeah. Diplomatic
Locals in
immunity.
England to be in it,
There
right?
we go.
Like,
Yeah, because he's shooting all of that.
he's shooting
in
in
England.
England, yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally get it.
Yeah, good question.
Yeah. Okay. You got anything else?
No, I was just say. I mean, the Roadrunner song played quite for a long time.
Yes.
Was that anything?
Yes. Can I tell you what I think that is?
Get the fuck out of there.
I
Run.
think can I go for a little bit here?
Yeah, or maybe it's just a run. Yeah, go and
Here's
paint,
what I-
paint a train station on the wall and get him to run into it.
I think
Or
the Overlook.
train tunnel.
This is not my theory. I've read it and I loved it. The Overlook is America. You go into Ullman's office. It's eagles. There's a lot of red, white, and blue going on. You look at the colors on the wardrobe. There's a lot of red, white, and blue. You look at the. I don't want to jump too far ahead, but moon landing detail, right?
Yep.
The Apollo 11 jumper on Danny as he stands slowly like the rocket is launching. The Overlook is America. And America was built on the blood of the American Indian. And then Jack is a representation of what America will do to the white man, that it will fracture the family. We want you to be ready for violence. We need you to be in service to violence. I think there's a lot of that kind of thing going on there. I think the Roadrunner piece, I think that is a connection to this idea of, he's playing with this idea of chasing but not quite getting.
Right.
Jack only kills once, right? He
Yeah,
kills
he's
Halloran,
Scatman.
but he kills the black man. He kills the black man, and I think that's also, this is not my theory. I found this one. And I thought I really liked that Kubrick's making a statement, which he does in Clockwork, which he touches on in 2001. I think 2001 is man's search for meaning, and there's violence scattered through that. Man becomes awakened through the act of violence. I think this is also a story about man and violence. It's also a story about America and its passion for violence. And I think the Looney Tunes piece is also this whole idea of chase down and attempt to kill, attempt to destroy. If you look at the number 42 pops up right through there.
Yeah.
You see Danny wearing that 42 on his top in the bathroom in the first scene. I hear that if you look in HD, 42 is on the license plate for Halloran's vehicle driving through the snow. You see Wendy with the baseball bat. Jackie Robinson was number 42.
42, yeah.
Perhaps there's a statement there to be made about the African American journey within America. So I think there's a lot of that stuff going on there with Kubrick. That one kind of settles.
It's Pandora's
for me.
box.
It's Pandora's box.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think that's a good place to go. Film school for F-wits. And let's just keep piling on. Daniel, take it away.
This normally film school for F-wits, Craig. If you haven't listened, it's just normally when I just waffle on about something that I've enjoyed about the film or some element of the production that I can wank on about. And I was going to talk about the use of Steadicam and that sinister point of view that you talked about a lot, because it was quite, it was very unique. Steadicam was only a thing for a couple of years prior to the filming of this film. So it was an interesting choice by the director, and I think you could talk a lot about how it's used and whose point of view it is that we are seeing when we're watching it, that sinister point of view. But I just recently watched the Room 237 doco as well, which is basically ground zero for all of the, some might say, post-rationalised theories on this particular film. And I was talking to Whitey about it offline, and the question is, and everyone's going to have a point of view, but is there more to this than a ghost story genre horror film? Go.
The thing I struggled with this time watching this movie was I love a movie where there's unanswered questions. I love a movie where it's left up to your own mind to decide what goes on. The problem is you need to leave some semblance of breadcrumbs for me to track. I find the breadcrumbs get spread really thin in this movie. And I wasn't taking the piss. There are many conspiracy theories about this movie. Is there 237? There's probably more, right? You've spoke, Croaks, tonight about one I'd never even heard of before with just then. Now, I still watch this movie and I don't know what has happened. I know that final shot where it just keeps focusing in on Jack in 1921.
In the photo, yeah.
Was he always at the Overlook? Yeah. Is he a ghost?
So this is interesting because one of the theories is that it's absorbing. That's the hotel absorbing his soul, so it's taking him
that's interesting.
into all the people that are in there. Because I looked this up because I was like, what is the significance of that?
So all those people in that are they all dead? Have they all been absorbed? Are they all live forever at the Overlook? I would like one thing for someone to say, this is what this means. Definitive.
Kubrick had said that it suggests that he's a reincarnation of an earlier official at the hotel.
Yeah,
so someone that's already been there. That's why he says you've always been the caretaker.
You've always been here, yeah.
So there's that to do. But you're right. It leaves you just without enough to go, what is it? Like, and that's why I thought, am I missing something from the book because I've never read the book? Or is it just his way of leaving us hanging?
And I think
leaving us hanging and leaving everybody to go to debate this ad nauseum.
That final moment for me is the best final moment in any film of the genre, and I think it's the launch pad for which every conspiracy is born from.
Yeah.
Because when you ask that question of what the fuck is happening there,
yeah,
every other question follows on the back of that.
Yeah.
Which is part of his genius. The Ullman scene allegedly has the lines about no bodies were found. Were they absorbed into the hotel?
Yeah.
Was it a story of reincarnation, that there's two Gradys, that Jack has been always meant to return to, and he's always been there? Is it a story about that? We may not get the answers, which is part of the magic.
Yeah. That's what he wants.
Yes.
That's exactly what he wanted. Everyone to have all these wild theories and no one actually knows.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure I like that. Do you know? No, and I don't want to, and I never presume to be a movie aficionado, right? And there are movies that I've watched hundreds of times that I can see what they're trying to. Even the most difficult movies, I sort of get them. This movie, I don't get. Like it's a horror movie without being a horror movie. It's a ghost story without being a ghost story. It is so layered in what it is. But I can't decide what it is. And maybe that's what'll keep me going back to it. And even this, and I was really careful this time watching it. That's why I watched it twice, because I wanted to have a definitive answer, and I just don't. Is it about the Indians? Is it about the moon landing? Is it about Holocaust? Is it like, what's it about?
It's a mind trap, and that's what he's done. That's exactly what he's done to draw you in, and everyone has their own interpretation.
That's as succinct a summary of that film as I've ever heard.
Yeah.
It's a mind trap. And the joy of it is you can watch it and decide, I want to watch a ghost story.
Yeah.
I want to watch, as Kubrick said, the story of a family going insane together. I want to watch a story that's an allegory about America. And I think if you can pick almost how you want to view it, that's great art.
Well, I think to your point earlier, that the more times you watch it, the more these come out, and you see different sides of it, and you take yourself on that journey rather than the previous one you've gone on. So that's the beauty of it.
So Dan, chime in here. Where do you sit with this?
Oh, well, so this viewing was probably my worst for thinking that, for not agreeing with a lot of the theories about it. So obviously, Kubrick renowned for placing a huge amount of themes and symbolism and recurring motifs in this. I found really interesting about the left, right that you mentioned earlier, Croaks. Didn't have any clue of that. So there's obviously a series of extremely deliberate choices. The vanishing chair, no, I'm sorry, that's not a continuity error. You don't take 100 takes and then forget that there was a chair in the back of that shot previously. I mean, at depth of field as well, you can see everything that's happening in the back of the screen with his takes. There's never any really shallow depth of field that he uses. Like, we see everything that's happening in the background. So as a choice, he's definitely taken that chair out. But fucking why? Because most viewers aren't going to see that in the first 20 viewings. And in 1980, you're not going to see it 20 times. So my question is more about why were those choices so subtle, and was he just that much of a genius that he predicted the interweb and the fact that we would have YouTube and we would be able to go back and watch our favorite scenes and find some trueness in the talk about the plight of the American Indians. And obviously that's introduced in the dialogue as well, that it's an old Indian burial ground. So that's not by chance. Like, he wants us to think that. And then there's a lot of talk in this Room 237 documentary about the positioning of the Indian chief cans that are in a lot of the storeroom shots. That just has one of the theories behind the fact that it is completely linked to the story of the American Indians as well. So I don't know. I just find it, what's really, I guess, frustrating for me is that a genius like this would be so subtle to have us talking about it 45 years later and still not being quite sure what he's on about, which again, I completely love. I love a riddle. I enjoy the fact that the film makes us think, and I tend to skew towards the belief that's what makes this film brilliant, because you're not quite sure what you're watching, and you can watch it under many guises. But I don't know that he quite nails it, and that has a knock-on effect for me for all of the performances, because that's when I question Jack Nicholson's performance as to what he's doing if there isn't a wider story, but the wider stories are too subtle for me to understand. So I'm a little bit lost into why everything was happening and why those choices were made. Does that make any sense?
Great.
Yeah. I agree. I think that, and I agree with Croaks that I'm a Galley Greer guy, but it's a mind trap, and that's all it is. And if you look at, and actually, that's enough for me. Now that I think, you know what, I'm not supposed to know. It's supposed to be open ended. There's no end, and even as we watch Dr. Sleep as a sequel, it still doesn't really explain what happened at the Overlook. Like, Danny Ewan McGregor's character does not delve much into the Overlook. In fact, they go back there and they still don't talk much about it, about what happened when he was there and the reasons behind it. But
I think this movie, though, now when you talk about it like that, you want to watch it again and go, well, I don't see again. Did I miss something? Was there something else in there? And that's what sort of draws you back to it.
I think it's a movie that is best seen with company. I think it is a movie that is best discussed watching it.
With a 9-year-old? What do you reckon?
Well, look. I saw it from a different perspective, but I think that if you were to if the five of us were to sit down in a lounge room and watch this and have a discussion, this would be an excellent movie to have a watch party with, if you know what I mean, where you would record the discussion that you would have, because I'm sure there would be what the fuck is going on here? Oh, look at that. You see that silhouette. And I think that would be perfect, because I think that the more people you can get in a room with a different perspective on it, you might actually narrow the depth of field and actually get to something where at the moment I'm saying, well, I'm just comfortable now with thinking, well, I'm not supposed to know.
What's that show? What's that Aussie show where they all sit on the lounge and review?
Gogglebox.
Yeah, Gogglebox. We're gonna have Born to Watch Gogglebox.
But I think,
well, we're gonna do a watch party. We're gonna do a watch party where we record what we say. Actually, Dan's wife, when we were up there at Christmas time, said, "You guys should just record yourself." We were watching Predator and we were just talking about it. You guys should just record yourself talking while you're watching
That's
a
your
movie.
show, yeah.
And I'm like, it's got some weight. Still haven't done it, but we will.
Need some editing, that version. It's going to need some editing.
It certainly would.
But I think if you all got around to try and watch it, the detail is too small to see. So I'm going to bring something up here. So this, and it's going to, and we've touched on it, but Felicio Bear, who's number one character in the show,
Yes.
right? The whole
Star of the show. Star of the show.
You know, really, this comes up. It is bizarre, and when I first saw it, it's like, that is disturbing, weird, creepy. What the hell is that? And Wendy's face, like complete and utter shock.
Jealous.
So
it's called jealousy.
now, the reason for that, then you got to work your way backwards. What is a bear? What is a bear? And then we see there's a lot of things with Danny with a bear. Danny's got a bear pillow. Danny's bedroom's got a little bear picture above it. The bit where Wendy runs to Jack when he's having that nightmare, she runs over a bear skin rug. And then you start looking at Jack. When Jack's sitting in the Overlook lobby, he's reading Playgirl, not Playboy. He's reading Playgirl. Now, the article in Playgirl is,
This is heavy.
Get this, why parents sleep with their children.
Oh.
Right?
Right.
That's the featured article on the
That
cover.
is the article on the Playgirl
Wow.
magazine. And then you start going, right, so bears, Danny, sexual abuse, and then you start going, 237 is Jack doing that to Danny. And Jack sees a beautiful form because at his sort of mind, he's at this sort of high arousal where he thinks it's something beautiful for him and beautiful for the other person. All Danny sees is the old hag, right? The rocket on his jumper is more like a phallic symbol sort of thing. But the whole thing is you tie all the bears in to that final bear scene, and it's where Shelley Duvall actually comes to the realization what's actually happening between Jack and Danny.
So grim. So grim.
It is,
Very grim.
but there is this whole Rob Ager?
Rob Ager or Ager.
Rob Ager. He's like a cinema sort of, I don't know.
Collative Learning, I think, is the YouTube.
It was, and I just came across it, and he just presented all this evidence, and you start going, that's incredible. I mean, but the Playgirl one, what the hell?
And that's one of the strands they did talk about a little bit in this room 237, and there's about 5 others that are similarly just you just wouldn't pick up unless you would you
can't see
draw
that
a line
detail.
between them. No, not at all. So
Or how do you see the detail of a number plate?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, it's curious, isn't it, that suddenly Wendy's now seeing things. And I've heard the theory that they all shine.
Right.
This is, but to varying degrees. Halloran makes a comment to Danny in the opening moments there about some people have it, some don't know they have it.
Right.
And some repress it and bury it.
Right.
And he's saying things like that for a reason. But suddenly now Wendy is seeing.
She's seeing everything.
Up until the moment, she's seeing nothing.
Yeah.
But now she's seeing, so she's seeing as well. Jack is starting to shine. He's seeing the characters in the bar and so on. So perhaps there's something going on there as well. I don't think there's any getting around the suggestion of the sexual trauma, as hard as that is as a topic. I think there's got to be some kind of layer in there.
I think so.
It starts with that whole, as you say, he's sitting there reading Playgirl. That is the headline on the magazine. It's a subtle, deep touch, but it's in there for a reason.
But then there was more evidence too, like even though when Danny's leaning in, when he's talking to Tony in that bathroom, it's a similar scene to the way Jack was sitting on the bed, and there was all these things that this guy came up with. It's like, bloody hell! This then made me realize how many layers are in these Kubrick films,
And they're all dark in
it's
this
like,
one.
what? Yeah. It is.
It's almost as dense as the Eagles Hotel California song. Like there's almost
On a
as
dark
many.
desert highway.
It's like- Look, I think you've all answered that exactly how I thought you would, and that's brilliant. And I don't think we're going to solve that, and I don't think a million of us would solve it. But I've watched this film as a ghost story genre horror film 35 out of the 45 times I've watched it, and thoroughly fucking loved it. So there's something to be said for watching it in whatever dimension you like. But it's there's certainly. You could not argue that Kubrick hasn't layered it with so much fucking shit that it's difficult to untangle, and we'll be debating this for another 50 years.
Daniel, a very good film score for F-Wits. Actually, I think all five of us really stood up to the plate there, brought something to it. Well done. And we're going to go from something very dark to something very good.
Very kick-ass.
Yes. Stan Bush, kick-ass credit song. Damo is on the mic. This is an interesting one, mate.
It is.
This is. I'm really looking forward to this. How do you make a Stan Bush out of this?
Yeah, it's a good song. I don't know. Do you guys want to hear the 12-inch? Because
what are the options I've got?
Well, there's a 12-inch or the 7-inch.
Well, I always take the 12.
Well, it's just that it has a bass solo at the end, a bit like Fleetwood Mac's The Chain.
Go for it.
But I don't know if you want to hear the bass.
Does it? Did you incorporate any scat? Any scat and bebop in there?
Well, maybe we can blend the bass solo from this into The Chain.
Let's hope that your Stan Bush kick-ass credit song isn't scat.
No, it's not. It is.
Okay.
This is pure kick-ass.
You think this is your best of all time?
I think this is like I've really
PSO8 times
challenging.
PSOS times 8.
Yes, I know. I think it's on a par.
PSOS times 8.
Yeah,
that was your first
that was
and your
Taken.
best.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Particular set of skills.
Yeah, Taken.
PSOS times 8.
Brilliant.
I sang it 8 times.
Particular set of skills. You don't know who you are. A particular set of skills. I'm a killer connoisseur.
It was good. All right, this song is called Dull Boy.
Sorry?
Dull Boy.
Dull. Right. Okay.
Dull. All right. So very Stan Bush. Okay. We drove up the Sidewinder to the Overlook Hotel. Nicest place Mom had ever seen, didn't know it turned to hell. Chef tells me I got the gift, shining's what it's called. Oh yeah, now I know why my vision spawned. Dad's on the typewriter, his eyes start to glaze. He's dancing in the gold room in a ghost cabaret. What do you say, Tony? Red rum, red rum. Dad's got an accent, he's coming, look in the mirror, Mum. Oh, working no play, Max Jack a dull boy. Blood flows from the lift, it's time to deploy. We gotta get out, the evil's coming by. A farewell BJ by the Alsa spare suit guy. Oh, working no play, Max Jack a dull boy. Footprints in the snow are just a decoy. Lost in the maze, his mind is controlled. Nuts are frozen solid, he can't escape the cold. Oh, what can no play makes Jack a dull boy. Oh, what can no play makes Jack a dull boy. Do 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 dum do dum do dum dum.
Mate,
nice work.
Very good.
Really good.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh,
That needs to be recorded properly.
Yeah, I think I stuffed. I'll sing it after maybe.
mate, it was very good.
No, it's
Oh,
great.
it was
It's
good.
It was
great.
very good.
It was good.
It was very good. The fuck ups make it.
Oh, okay.
It's the rough edges.
Yeah.
It's the rough edges.
One taker.
Damo, well done. Another cracker. You have set the bar high. Next week, I don't know. Might be Gow up next week. We'll see. We'll see.
I did the last one.
Okay, well then it's me. Then it's me. Okay, let's slide into a star of the show. Of course, we can't pick Damo for his song. We'll start with our guest, Croaksy. Who you got?
I think Danny Lloyd.
Oh.
For me, I think that's a really great performance. Jack's obvious. Wendy's great. Or Shelley's great. But I think Danny Lloyd gives a very solid, understated, real performance.
Okay, nice one. Daniel?
I concur, Croaksy. Yeah,
Nice.
I'm the agreeer. I'm Gow the agreeer, and I agree with you.
Okay. G-Man?
I'm Gow the agreeer.
Okay. Damien?
I'm going Gordon Stainforth, the music editor.
Oh,
Through the music, the horror became alive and tangible.
it's hard to argue with that.
Yeah. I do not disagree with you, strawberry-haired aficionado of film.
I'm going to go Kubrick, and just purely because he's just left so much unanswered, and everything was a choice. There's no doubt he made no mistakes. His decision was to make us to be talking about this 43 years later. Well done. Sadly missed. Okay, well done, gentlemen. Just quietly, did we do 1 degree of Kurt Russell? Croaksy mentioned that he might have had one.
I think I've got one here. I did a little bit of research. When John Carpenter was casting Jack Burton for Big Trouble in Little China,
One of the greatest movies of all time.
he firstly wanted Jeff Bridges, and then thought about Clint Eastwood, and then had Jack Nicholson.
Really?
as
I'll
a
take that.
thought.
I'll take that.
And then
That's
decided,
solid
you know
intel.
what? It's Kurt Russell.
Has to be Kurt.
There's
Yeah.
the link.
Has to
There it
be
is.
Kurt.
But apparently Carpenter seriously considered Nicholson. Wanted to give him a whole
He
change.
wouldn't have worked those thigh-high boots.
He couldn't
or
have said
knee-high boots.
the check is in the meal.
Yeah. Call the president.
Okay, so I think we've done a fairly comprehensive episode here, and is by far our longest so far, and it's thoroughly deserved in a movie that is still pondered today. Let's slide into the rank bank and find out where this is going to sit. Now, I've got a couple options here for us. So we're going to start off the top with Gow's one, movie mind traps. Homicidal husbands, shitty jobs, Indian burial grounds, dull boys, bearsuit blowjobs, or vagina beards.
Oh, God. Or even arse-loop bear suits. Arseless bear suits.
Fellatio bears.
Fellatio bears?
Pig face lick out.
Yes.
Well, I'm saving something for the end about pig face lickouts. That was last week. Anything else? What are we thinking? We like
I
any of
think
them?
fellatio bears was not too bad.
That sounds like it should be a
Yeah.
toy line.
And
I
don't take them out of the box.
I got my fellatio bear. What did you get for Christmas?
I've been to a few Japanese adult toy shops in Tokyo that I reckon have a fellatio bear out the back for sure. They've got some weird ass shit.
He was
yeah.
the 1980s gimp, wasn't he?
There you go.
The fellatio bear.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going fellatio bears. Daniel, how many fellatio bears are you giving The Shining?
Look, despite the wobbles I got on this viewing because my brain couldn't cope with all of the theories in Room 237, the doco, I still very much love this film. Not my favourite Kubrick film, and my favourite Kubrick film is not 2001: A Space Odyssey, but in fact is Full Metal Jacket. And I have gone for 4 out of 5 with this film just because of what it's done for me in the last 40 years, maybe not the last week.
Yeah, good call. Damien?
Look, I'm not a craft beer guy, right? So you can give me a bent spoke crankshaft IPA, but I would prefer to have a Great Northern, just a whitefish. So it's probably Kubrick is the king of craft beer, sort of for me. So I'm giving this a 3.75 fellatio bears.
Okay.
Solid. I like the analogy.
Our guest, Croaks.
I can't top anything you guys have said there to get to it, but I'm going to go 4.6 fellatio bears. 4.6 because I think this is a masterwork.
Yep.
Its flaws are minor, and great art should create great conversations.
Yeah, well done.
Tick, tick, tick.
Croaksy, do you have 5s? Now you don't have to divulge them here because we might invite you back. But this is a 4.6, and you said this is in your top 5. Do you have a 5
I do.
in mind?
Yeah, 2001: Space
Okay.
Odyssey is a 5, right?
Yeah.
Oh, don't. Yeah, let's not steal his thunder.
Well, he's already told us it's his favourite fucking movie.
Maybe his number 1 movie is not his 5. It could be cryptic, like Stanley fucking Kubrick.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
It's got layers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Porky's. Porky's is 5 for Croaks. Anyway, and speaking of a 5 for Porky's, let's go to Gow. How many fellatio bears are you giving The Shining?
I really enjoyed rewatching this, and now having discussed it for so long, I mean, it's like going through all of it.
Yes.
I really want to watch it again. You know, it's something now.
Yeah.
Because now we've talked to so many topics, I really want to. I'm thinking about watching it again just to get that different perspective. So I'm going to give it 3.75.
It's a good score. It's a good score. Okay, I had given this a rating before, well, about halfway through the podcast. I've changed that rating. I've given it more. I think that we asked a lot of questions. This is as close to a movie podcast that we've come to on Born to Watch. We've actually really dissected the film. I am comfortable now not knowing. I'm comfortable now in the idea that it's a movie mind trap. I'm giving this 4 fellatio bears. It was at 3.75, but it gets that little bit extra because I think it's an 8 out of 10 movie. And it's one that after talking about it, I was almost ready to Marie Kondo this and just store it away and not watch it again. After talking about it, I'm with Gow. I'll be watching it again. It deserves more viewing. G-Man, how you going over there, mate?
Ready to go.
Oh, look at you.
Yep. Got it. I've got my technique down and everything.
You don't be tickling or nothing.
Tickling or nothing. Look, this has come in at 4.02 Heady Bears. It's right above 4 ass and umptions for the long kiss goodnight.
Okay.
Which is equal with 4 bananas in the tailpipe. And also 4 pieces of white dog shit for Step Brothers. It's right below Predator at 4.06 Ugly Motherfuckers and Gone Girl at 4.08 World Class Vaginas.
Or Ben Affleck's Side Dicks for
That's
Damo.
what it should have been. It's a travesty that never got called Side Dicks.
Absolute travesty.
She did have a world-class vagina, though.
Yeah, but you didn't see it.
So this has brought us into number 32, spot 32 on our list.
God,
And that's over 4.
It's a tough
There's
crowd.
a lot of 4s out of 5s.
It's a tough crowd, aren't we?
That is tough. That is tough.
We are
32.
a super tough crowd. Well done, gents. I think that, as we said, we're here to evoke an emotion about film. And I think we've done that tonight. I'm definitely going to be rewatching this one. I'm sure we all will. And maybe we all do it together and talk, maybe just bring a pack of Sayos and just rip in.
For the bath scene.
Yeah, that's it. Anyway, so if you liked The Shining, what are you going to watch? Croaksy.
John Carpenter's The Thing.
Oh, mate, 5 out of 5 for
You'll
me.
get Morgs with that one.
That's
Fucking lick
That's
outs. I like
a
it.
masterpiece.
Yep.
Isolation,
Yep.
cabin fever,
Yep.
doubt about who and what is real. There's similar themes, and yet it's completely unique. It's a masterwork. Whispers in the industry that maybe Carpenter is thinking of.
Heard about it.
What a piece of work that movie is.
We did The Thing probably episode 4.
Oh, great!
And it's probably one we need to revisit. I gave it a 5. It sits in 11th spot.
Right, there you go.
4.5 flamethrowers for us.
Perfect.
Yes,
Rightly so. It's a masterpiece.
It's a quality film. So good. One of my favourites. Dan, what are you going to watch if you like this one?
Yes, I look based on this and based on a bit of a head fuck of a film. It's a foreign language South Korean film. It's a neo-noir action thriller, and it's directed and co-written by Park Chan-wook, and you'll know it when you hear it. It's called Old Boy.
Oh, so good.
And it tells the story of Oh Dae-soo, who's imprisoned in a cell that resembles a hotel room for 15 years, hence the alignment with The Shining. So the twist in this is fucked up.
Big
but
time.
but other than that, it's just a brilliant film. We learnt it in film studies at the university, and it was one of my favourite films that we looked at. One of my least favourite films that we looked at, Croaksy, was Barry Lyndon by the great Stanley Kubrick, which was an absolute wank. And if he wanted to be a painter, he should have just gone and got himself a set of paint and painted a fucking painting rather than just painted it on the screen for us. How bloody boring.
Touche.
But Old
It is
Boy,
boring.
absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Make sure, watchers, if you're going to watch Old Boy, watch the original. Do not watch the Hollywood remake with Josh Brolin in it and Elizabeth Olsen.
And do not watch it with your daughter.
It's definitely not a 9-year-old daughter. Look, just spoiler alert.
Don't spoil!
No, hang on a minute. Spoiler alert. There's no vagina beards. Okay? G-Man.
It's way worse.
Yeah.
All right. I foreshadowed this earlier.
Oh, think with Stanley.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
Misery.
Oh,
good
yeah.
call.
Yes.
We talked about it. Same theory of isolation, very limited number of characters, cold, snowy settings, a great interpretation, and a real sense of foreboding, like where you start with a character that's normal on the surface and then just unravels into a psychotic persona as the movie rolls on. It's a fantastic movie, and it reminds me of this so much.
Yeah, good call. 2 writers. Damo?
It's something that's been foreshadowed. I think you mentioned it. If you love The Shining, you should love Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Completely different movie, but holy crap! If you like The Shining, you will thoroughly
The
thoroughly
Shining
enjoy that.
scene is the best scene of that movie.
And the photo with Halliday in it, and with the girlfriend, and you go, you just start seeing those things. The room 237, the girl, the blood, the dancing. It's just like, oh my god,
it's great.
And the acts in the maze, and it's so brilliant.
Yeah, it's really well done.
All the key parts of the movie are in Ready Player One.
Great call.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, I'm going to go. I've put two here. One is just two King movies. Salem's Lot, which is the telly movie starring David Soul that we mentioned earlier, is excellent. Really, really good. I watched it about a month ago. It's really good. But the director's cut of Doctor Sleep, which is the sequel to this movie, don't watch the theatrical release. You need to watch the director's cut. It goes for about 3 hours, and it is really, really, really good. Ewan McGregor is Danny. Rebecca Ferguson plays Rose the Hat, and it is a fucking good movie. It's one of those ones where the director's cut is 1,000 times better than the original film. Go and watch it. Adds a whole nother layer. It's great to see Danny back, and he's still shining, and he's helping a young girl. It's an amazing film. Really, really good.
Is that the
Yeah,
director?
Mike Flanagan. Who is a superstar. And I was also going to say, the other one I was going to say was House on Haunted Hill, which is Mike Flanagan's Netflix series, which is another ghost story, which is incredible.
It is.
Okay, we are done. We have
world record.
now finished the podcast that has surpassed the length of the film by some margin. Well done, gentlemen. Gow looked to be nodding off about 30 minutes ago, but you soldiered on, and you were fucking good at the back end too. Gow's very good at the back end.
The back end of a bear suit.
The back end of a bear suit.
Yeah, Gow's very good at the back end of a bear suit. And slightly smaller teeth than the bear, though.
That's right.
Yeah, only slightly. Look, it was a great episode, Croaksy. Thank you.
Thank you
Added
for
a
the
whole.
honour.
That was
mate,
amazing. Thanks, mate, for coming in.
Thanks for the
it's-
honour.
That was great.
We do wax lyrical each week about being industry insiders, and to have Australia's greatest look-back actor join us in the panic room it's elevated the podcast, and I'm sure that we're going to bear amazing amounts of fruit from it. And mate, we actually, I'm looking forward to having you back.
Oh, that's kind of you.
I think
I'll make sure I get my head around the format, so I'm not jumping lanes.
Oh, no,
mate, we whipped you a few times early because you were jumping ahead, but you were good.
Like the nun in Blues Brothers.
Yeah.
The penguin. Fat penguin.
But look,
Cruxy, I agree. I want to say thank you, and you definitely classed up the joint.
Yeah.
And I just want to say,
I
want to say piss flaps for no other reason than to declass up the joint.
now, just to finish, we talked about Born to Watch Only fans. We got a message come through while we were recording the podcast. 3 words from a great fan of ours, Maddie Beer Geek, all the way over from WA. 3 words: pig face lickouts.
All right.
Will go down in the annals, and that is annals, not anals, of Born to Watch.
So we might have to change that whole trophy to pig face lickouts moving forward.
We're
Might be the name of it.
going to have to. It's going to have to come into the. It's going to have to come into the show next week. I've made an executive decision here. We're going to go with a blockbuster. Dan is out. G-Man and Damo are
See ya, suckers. Enjoyed talking about tights.
No, we are not doing a superhero film.
Men in Tights.
We are doing a movie. Came out in 1993, and it changed the movie world forever. Steven Spielberg's
Dazed and Confused.
Jurassic Park.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so get your
T-Rex?
T-Rex arms ready.
Yeah, they're ready.
If you've fallen asleep, wake up now. It's the end of the show. It's been a pleasure. Gentlemen, thank you. Damo?
Thanks. Let's hit the showers, guys.
Yeah, Croaksy?
I'll start running the water.
G-Man?
Thanks, mate. Thanks, Croaksy, for coming in. Pleasure to have you in here. Thanks, boys. See you all next week.
Well done. Daniel?
Nice agree to end us out there. Good work, yeah.
All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Blood flows from the lift. It's time to deploy. We gotta get out. The evil's coming by. Farewell PG by the Asbestos Guy.
Oh, working no pay makes Jack a dull boy. Oh, working no pay makes Jack a dull boy. Oh, working no pay makes Jack a dull boy.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Born to Watch. To join us on our journey into some of our favourite movies of all time, you can find us on all good podcast networks like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you like what you hear, give us a 5-star review and share with your friends.